Hi, Editing Cara here. I just thought I'd put a little note up front about content warnings, as this episode we do kind of go in depth a little bit in our own traumatic experiences with food and other stuff. So yeah, content warnings for teeth, religion, food, and school camps. They should be fine, but I just sort of put that up front just so people are aware. And also there should be timestamps in the description, just in case you want to skip them. Anyway, enjoy the episode, and good luck to you. This is a long one. Hello and welcome to I'll Sleep When I'm Done Talking. That's the name of the show, isn't it? I'll Sleep When I'm Done Talking. Yeah.
Yes, that's the name of the show.
Fuck, I have to leave that in, don't I?
Yeah.
God damn it. Fuck. It's been a day. Hello and welcome to I'll Sleep When I've Been Talking, into which we don't sleep until we eat all our greens off our plate, and gee willikers, we're not doing that. I'm Cara.
I'm David.
Today's episode's food. We're talking about food. Get excited.
I'm a little ill still.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, barely even feel ill. My nose is just still a little congested.
That's... The audience will
definitely
live.
Coming through on the recording from how I'm talking right now.
The audience will live. They had to suffer through Damo only through the left ear for that one Christmas special.
Oh, yeah.
Which is still up on YouTube if you want to listen to the bad version. But if you want to listen to... Here's where I'm going to do this fun little thing called a plug. And put it in and all the water flows up and whoops. But anyway, if you want to listen to a better version of the Christmas episode, or if you just want to listen to this show on the go, you can go to the majority of podcasting platforms and go and listen to it. You can go to Apple Podcasts, you can go to Spotify. Those are the two people that usually use. And if you use the app that I use, which is Podcast Addict, that uses the podcast index, which means that anything that our podcast is uploaded to there as well. So if you have any third-party podcasting apps that uses the podcast index, you can listen to us on the go. Or, if you have YouTube, I'm pretty sure that's also worked. I've put our playlist as a podcast, so I think that should transfer to whatever YouTube uses. I don't know. If you click on the YouTube channel, it should show us on the podcast. But yeah. Anyway, that's a fun little thing I did. Crazy.
Hell yeah.
And this episode, if you don't want to listen to it on YouTube, I'd recommend you do, because the views feel very nice. You can just listen to it on the go, because the audio version of this should be out at the exact time as the actual episode, which is the first time this will be happening. Because the audio episodes have to catch up. So yeah, that's fun. Anyway, we're talking about food.
Yeah.
Talking about food. So, we have a very checkered past with food. I think we should talk about this.
That's a way of describing it.
I think it's a fun way of describing it, at the very least. But if we go back to our childhoods, I'll maybe pass the ball over to you first. What's your childhood experience with food? What was that like?
Mixed.
All right, so my experience was about the same. All right, so my next question: would you like to go further into detail?
I mean, I don't know. You know, like kid with undiagnosed neurodivergency, like food is just weird at around that age, especially. I don't know, like. I'm not sure if I can even say undiagnosed autism, because I haven't even had that diagnosed as an adult. It's just a thing of this is probably correct. And also I have weird laws around autism in Australia. Just it's just
yeah.
But don't need to get into that because this is about food, damn it.
We'll save that episode for the... I'll sleep when I'm done talking about the laws and the judicial system.
Yeah.
The fan art... Occasionally we'll just say a thing and I'm like, fan art for that would be so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Despite the fact that we could literally just make it ourselves.
Well, look, I'm busy. I gotta
So
learn how
am
to
I.
draw Spider-Man, and you're drawing monkeys.
True.
Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, no,
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't like most things that were, especially ones that were particularly healthy, because mainly, I would say because of texture issues. Like the way some things were made for me, like the texture was always just didn't feel right. Even if it was a food I liked, if it wasn't prepared the specific way that I enjoyed, then I wouldn't be able to eat it. I I have a core memory in my head, because I really like eggs, and one of my favorite things to eat as a kid was scrambled eggs, but it was specifically firm scrambled eggs. And when I went to a friend's place and they asked me what I would like to have for dinner, and I was like, "Oh, I like scrambled eggs. Do you have any eggs that you could use?" Because everyone just had eggs, and they're like, "Oh yes, we can make that for you." And like, 20 or so minutes later, come out with like the mushiest, softest, most liquidy scrambled eggs I had seen in my little child life, and I was like, "Oh no."
yeah.
Can't ask them to just like put it back in. What do I do? And I felt so bad, and that was a foundational memory that would just be built up upon for years to come.
It's upsetting
Especially during school camps.
Oh god, I didn't even think about school camps. I have to write that in my notes.
Yeah.
But no, it's very unfortunate. I also have just the exact same experience. Just like,
hey, we will know
like-
exactly what the other person's talking about.
like not explicitly with eggs, as I've learned recently. I don't really like eggs, but like just like a thing where someone's like, "I've made a thing," and you're like, "Wow, this is the wrong bread, the wrong cheese, the wrong lettuce. How did you get the tomatoes? You didn't have any, because people don't like tomatoes, and I was the only one who did, and then I was still also so picky." And I'm like,
It's so funny because I don't like tomatoes either.
but that's reasonable, because I understand why someone like tomatoes. My mum only likes tomatoes when putting on like I think it's a. It's like I think it's like salt, or like they put put salt over the top of them. It's like, now I can enjoy a tomato. I don't need that. I can just have a slice of tomato, and be like, not the best, but I can eat it.
Neat.
You know, like it's. But we just like, they have different bread here. Oh no, I can't. Oh no.
Bread's luckily been like one of the things I've almost always been able to adjust to when going to a different person's place. Like, granted, most of the time it usually was white bread, but every now and then there would be just different types of bread, and I would just be able to ignore any crunches I felt in the bread because the Vegemite would just cover everything up, and I would be happy.
That's so fair. That's such an experience. I get that. Like again, using a recent example, I don't really like multigrain bread. It's not really my thing. I know it's supposed to be good, but anytime I have like a seed in my mouth, it's bad. But if I use it for like a toasted sandwich, like with like a grilled cheese or something, oh, it's really good for some reason. But also, it's the thing where I'm like, it's really nice, but I still can't have the seeds. So the crunch bit of it being toasted kind of like mixes around. So I'm like, it really works out, but I have to take big bites to not get the seeds.
That makes sense.
But
I've always preferred multigrain bread like while toasted anyway, because
that's fair enough.
Consistent texture.
That's so reasonable. It's fun. It's good.
Yeah.
But the issue is that bread goes bad so quickly. So every time I'm like, am I just gonna have just like toasted sandwiches for like a bit? Like, it's healthier for you. I should get back on it. But yeah,
I haven't had bread in a while either.
I've had so much. I've been eating I've been going through so many, like, I buy 2 loaves of bread within 3. By the time it's expired, it's almost done. Like, we've just been, because I have, like, toast in the morning, which is, like, 4 slices. Then, with the fresh bread, I usually have, like, 4 to 6 slices of just, like, nice fresh food. Then you toast it and other stuff. But, unfortunately, and here's a very perfect example. Eventually I'll get to my childhood stuff. My God, and I'll let Damo talk for once. But so the bread I've been buying at the moment, the bread that I can eat, is the Coles bakery bread. Now, the only reason I could go for their bakery bread is we used to go for their cheap bread, like the Coles cheap bread, whatever, when it was like 89 cents. But now it's up to like $1.50 or whatever. I don't buy it anymore because every time I've touched that bread, it feels like it's about to go moldy. I don't know what it is. Something's changed. And then, like, Mom and Dad would be like, it's fine. And I'm like, but it's just not. It's just bad. I don't understand. And, like, I think they've changed the recipe on it slightly, and it's become way worse for me. And I don't know. Or maybe my taste just changed, or the cells changed around. I'm like, oh, you hate this now. But it's just awful. And I can only get the Coles bakery bread half the time. Now, the specific trick...
I like... It's... So,
yeah,
like,
good.
I know what you mean with that as well, because I've kind of, like, just described my experience with that with you before,
yes, you have.
Think.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, because, like, I'm never sure how to describe, like, how it actually feels for me, but, like, I could open up the bag, I could smell the bread, it just smells fucking sour to me. Yeah. And it's like, no, this is not good bread.
And you're like, but this was bought, like, yesterday. Like, this shouldn't be off. But yeah, it's weirdly sour now. But yeah, no, my tip with the Coles bread is when you're at the shops and when you're picking up your bread, you gotta peel it open a little bit to see if it has, like, the little nubs of, like when they've baked the bread and when they've sliced the bread, all the bread's, like, when, like, this is a terrible example, but I have no other way to describe it. My couch has it, and, like, sometimes you get it on socks, where you get, like the fabric and little nubs, and just to peel over a couch.
Do you mean when it pills?
Pills, yes, thank you. If the bread is pilling, that is such delicious bread. If the bakery bread is pilling, if the bread is not pilling, don't buy it. It's not worth the money. It feels like it goes off quicker if it doesn't peel. That's my tip. That's Kara's tip about bread. That's like, Also, the Woolies bread tastes like cake in the worst way. It feels like it feels like how America's bread is described.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. I don't know why. I don't know why it's weirdly cakeish, but not enough to be any good. But yeah, that's my little tips about bread. Anyway, Damo, your childhood experiences of trauma around food. Go on. Tell me more.
Yes, so much. How far into the timeline do we want to go with this?
I don't know. We could just, like, swap and forth, because I've got a lot of stuff here that I'm like, I feel like this will spur on to you and this will spur on to me. Like, school camps are its own kettle of fish we could talk about.
Yeah.
But, like,
Yeah. Because, like... Yeah. Because, like, at home, there would almost always be the food that I like the most, which would basically be, like, my safe food. Like, mainly just whenever I don't feel like experimenting, and it's like, it's a thing I do as an adult today. If I don't feel like experimenting with something new, I have safe food.
I'm never experimenting. I should more, but I usually don't. I don't have the money anymore. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah. For me, it's usually just chicken nuggets or, like, fish, but chicken nuggets usually come out, like, the most consistently alright enough that I'm, like, happy to just have that if I don't feel like putting the effort into making, like, an omelet or something like that. And that's what I would have most of the time as a kid. And my parents would try to get me to try different things, but it was very, very difficult to get me to try extra things. Like they would I think the majority of my dinners would be like some kind of chicken, mashed potatoes, because that was like the one vegetable I would eat like most of the time. And then they would sprinkle in some, I think, boiled carrots sometimes to try and get me to try something extra. I think I just don't like boiled vegetables that much is the thing. I think that's the issue.
That's so reasonable. I don't either.
Yeah, because anytime vegetables would be presented to me in any fashion, not just at home, but just literally just anywhere, they would always be fucking boiled, and it is like, they taste fine, but it's again a texture issue because it just like it's got this mushy outside and then it's slightly crispy on the inside, and it just doesn't feel good to eat.
Yeah, yuck.
And just every time I would just be like, I'll try, but I'm not gonna like it.
This might, funnily enough, be our most controversial episode. I was just thinking about it being like, oh yeah, that might be an interesting... Huh.
I mean, like, that's fair. Like, people are passionate about food.
Yeah.
And, like, we're kind of passionate about food, mainly just the ones that we don't like all that much.
No, I'm passionate about my safe food.
Yeah.
I passionately hoard it for me.
Yeah. Oh my god. And what the fuck was I gonna say? Yeah, no, the stuff I would usually like. Okay, yeah, breakfast would just be like either cereal or toast. I don't remember what cereal I had as a kid. It was probably just like Cocoa Pops or like cornflakes. Actually, it was probably most of the time cornflakes.
Oh my god, I also had only cereal or toast. Wow.
Yeah. And like I mentioned Vegemite before. That is basically my favorite thing ever.
We love
like,
a good Vegemite on the podcast.
It's honestly probably one of the biggest things tethering me to staying in this fucking country is Vegemite. Because good luck getting it anywhere else.
Oh yeah, nah, like look,
And it's so good. It is a legitimate safe food for me.
It's weirdly good. It shouldn't be good, but it's very good.
It's really good.
It's one of those foods where if you like, again, it's just like the offcuts of beer. Like it's just like bad wheat, but it's delicious.
Yeah. It's so good.
It's so nice. I have it not as much as you do. Like you like do it like a whole spread where I'm the like middle ground between like barely anything and too much. I like a nice healthy middle where it mixes with the butter really well. But yeah, no, I 100% support your Vegemite intake.
To be fair, the way I spread Vegemite on my sandwiches is like not the same, but almost the same way as people spread peanut butter on their sandwiches.
That will be crazy for people to learn.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's so fair.
But in my lunchboxes that I would take to school, I don't remember that much of like what was in my lunchboxes, but it was consistently either like Vegemite sandwiches or Vegemite on Saos. You know those Arnott's biscuits, Saos?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we basically use those if like I actually even just had a few the other day and they were really nice.
Hell yeah, I've never had that before.
It's like surprisingly good.
Maybe it's worth a try.
Yeah.
But also may not be a good experience for you to give me one of your foods you really like and me to be like, ugh.
It's like I would basically have that whenever either we didn't have bread or I just didn't feel like bread. Because as much as I just like to eat the same foods over and over again, I also just get sick of the same foods over and over again very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's like the worst thing. It sucks.
It's very conflicting.
It sucks so much when you're like, oh, this is the best. Oh, I'm sick of this now, and you forget of all other food you've ever liked. And
yeah.
like, what am I gonna buy? Oh no.
What do I do? Back to eating chips, I guess. But yeah, I would have that. I try to remember what else I would have. I think occasionally I would have like some sort of like there would usually be some sort of sweet in there. Like I think jelly beans sometimes were in there. Fuck, I'm really struggling. Maybe some yogurt. I'm really just remembering the Vegemite stuff.
Fair enough.
Every now and then I think my mom like my parents would give me like a boiled egg to take with, but it's just a boiled egg is really boring just on its own. Because I'm not taking seasoning with me.
You're right. That's very true. Yeah. Huh.
I don't know. I think I remember one of the few times our school offered fruit or drinks for us to have was like, they gave us cordial at one point, and like I remember everyone just so fucking ecstatic to have cordial there. I had never had cordial before up until that point, and I
when was that?
I went.
Sorry, you say your thing. I was just gonna ask what age were you when this was?
Oh, I think I might have been like 10.
Because I might have a very similar story, but continue.
Yeah, I just saw everyone was really excited about it. I'm not even sure if I even heard what cordial was at that point. I might have, but I didn't. I had never had it before, so I didn't get the excitement. Once enough people had like left the taps, I decided like, why not? I'll give it a try. Like, people seem to like it, so maybe I'll like it too. I get a glass of it. I try it. It's disgusting. I'm sorry to anyone who likes cordial out there. I just did not like it, and I didn't see the hype. So I just kind of sadly took my cup back to my seat in the chapel. And just sat with it for the rest of the day. Not the rest of the day, but the rest of the period, basically.
No, yeah, the thing of like, oh, I've tried a drink and I don't like it. Well, I guess I'm carrying this cup forever.
Yeah.
Until I can find a sneaky spot to put it down and then just walk away.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But no, I never had cordial growing up because Mum was always like, it's too sugary. And I was like, all right, whatever. But the issue with that is, because everyone had cordial, and I was like, all right, I don't know, whatever. But when they were teaching ratio in maths, the only example they used was cordial. Like that was the teaching example. So I had no understanding of ratio because they didn't really give me any other examples that made sense to me.
Oh, no.
So I was just like, what? And this was like a struggle for like 2-3 years because any time it was like, yeah, cordial. I'm like, but I never had cordial. I don't understand. Like genuinely, if someone had sat me down and been like, hey, you know what you do with orange juice and how you fill the cup up like half with orange juice and half with water, because that's what Mum says to water down the sugar. Yeah, that. I would be like, But they're always just like, yeah, ratio with cordial. And I'm like, and then the other example they use would be Milo. And I'm like, well, I don't know that either. I don't like chocolate, so like I'm just stuffed, and it was like the one mass. I was like, when I was in primary school, I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh my god, it felt so hard.
Oh my god. Speaking of, because I've got like some notes of like school experiences. So we all know I'm a big pizza fan. I'm a pizza fanatic. I love a good pizza.
Pizza's so fucking good.
When I first had pizza when I was a kid, I didn't like the cheese. We would get a cheese pizza, get rid of the cheese. Mum would eat the cheese. Mum was happy enough just to have the cheese. And I would have the base. That's what I would have. until I was 5 years old, and it was like, you know, it was like we got like a little pizza day at school, and I was like, oh, but I can't ask someone to take off the cheese. I don't know. And this little child me being like, I can't, I don't know. I guess I just gotta eat it. And it was the best thing ever. I was like, this is amazing. I love this so much. This rules.
Was it just that you just had bad pizza before that?
No, I just don't, like, I think I was just like a baby.
Fair.
I was 5 when I had a pizza with cheese on it. I was like, whoa. Beforehand, it would have been like Domino's or Pizza Hut. Like, it wasn't like terrible. Well, it depends on who you ask. But it wasn't like terrible pizza per se. It was just like a thing of like, I just didn't have it and Mum had it and whatever. Like, apparently, like, my mum would have a ton of stories to tell about on like stuff like this. Of like, I would eat carrots, but to make me eat beetroot, they just grated it up like carrots and said it was red carrot. And I'm like, oh, okay, I eat it. Where now I just like beetroot and I don't like carrot as much, but I still enjoy it occasionally. But like, that's like a very vivid memory of my childhood. Just being like, well, I mean, it's blurrier now, but like just the thing of like, whoa, crazy.
That does just happen sometimes where like you don't like something for the longest time, and then one day you're just like, I guess I'll try it, and then it's like, oh, I like this now.
Yeah.
That just happens every now and then, where a switch just flicks and you don't really have any control over it.
But then sometimes the switch flips the opposite way, and you're like, oh no. And then your mum still thinks you like the thing, and you're like, Mum, it's been like 15 years. I don't like it anymore. For example, I have an opposite story, fruitcake. Like the big solid brick of fruitcake, I apparently, and I have memories of it, used to love eating it as a kid. Never liked the red cherry bit in it, hated that part, but I always really liked eating it. Nowadays, I don't like it. It's not good. It's too solid. It's too bad, everything. But also, the fun balance here is, my mom is a vegetarian, and like, I through and through, like, that's how she eats, that's how stuff. My dad doesn't like certain textures, so I was just fucked from the beginning. I was just given a terrible output. My brother, the exact opposite, will eat anything.
Oh my god.
Eats anything and everything. You got to be careful, otherwise if you don't put your stuff in a certain spot, it is gone.
Oh my god.
I have lost whole packets of biscuits that way.
Same.
Like, it just disappears, and you're like, oh my goodness. And you're sitting there being like, how did I get the bong genes? But yeah, like, and also, I have so many goddamn stories. Like, I have a lot of, like, this episode, we're going to learn so much. Like, I feel like there's a lot of stuff with food specifically, in which you learn a wide variety about that person.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've got like 3. You're gonna learn about my family. You're gonna learn about my trauma. You're gonna learn about like my religious experience. You're gonna learn about a lot of things. But so, for example, I have a lot of teeth trauma because every time I lost a tooth, it was very traumatic. Except for that one time in which my uncle wrestled me, and that's how a tooth fell out. There was a lot of blood with that one. That wasn't the best part, but that was like the first tooth that had like a lot of blood. But aside from that, like, you know, it came out and it wasn't too much of a stress. But I have a lot of very, very upsetting and very like I genuinely describe as traumatic experiences of losing my teeth. And so that affected me with a lot of food. I'd be eating food. I'd be eating safe food, and then a tooth would come out, and then the food wasn't safe anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Eventually it came back around to being safe, but you know, it was a worry because it would be like, you know, like a soft like the soft shell tacos, like the soft like wrap type things. I lost a tooth in that. Like,
oh no.
Like, you know, like that. I've lost a tooth in a hot cross bun.
Oh no.
That was when I was 14. So,
oh no.
That was like way later, and I was like, why? I couldn't even eat. I lost.
I would just be so confused if I lost a tooth at 14.
I lost my last.
Like, what the fuck?
Here's a fun fact about me because of my teeth trauma. My last tooth I lost was when I was 21.
Have I heard about this?
Yeah, probably. Because
you would have at some point.
Okay, this episode's gonna be so long.
Oh
it was
yeah,
so much
like
to tell.
30 minutes into
Buckle
recording.
into like a 2-hour episode.
Oops.
but like, so one of the things that does tie into food thing is, so I at one point and so this is gonna be a bit yuck. I'm so sorry. I should have, but what was it? I didn't like cleaning my teeth, so I stopped doing it, and then discovered this magical thing called lying, which then but you know, most kids, like when you're lying, the consequences, you have to, like, you get in trouble, you get like a timeout, or you have to clean the toilet, or like, you know, whatever. My consequence to lying was not only did I have to clean the toilet, was that I then had to go into like to get like 6 fillings, like it was like 6, I think it was like 4 fillings, 6 teeth removed, 2 crowns. And like the actual experience of going in wasn't the worst. I hated every time going into the dentist because my teeth were so hypersensitive already that like anytime I'd touch it would be pain. So it was just the worst. But the actual surgery thing was fine because they put you under, you're unconscious, and then you just wake up watching hoodwinked in the reflection of a mirror because you were unable to move your head for half an hour, which is a cursed experience. But thank God I liked that movie already. Thank God I was like, oh, a movie I kind of already like.
Thank God you weren't introduced into that franchise with the second movie, like me.
Oh, poor Damo. Poor Damo. We should send our love to Damo. Poor Damo.
I only remember one shot from that movie, and it's fucking awful.
That's so fair. But because of that experience, I had to relearn how to eat.
Oh,
because my mouth had completely changed.
Yeah.
Because 6 teeth were suddenly missing. And then I had 2 metal crowns in my mouth, which had the worst thing of they put these extra little caps on the top. So if you smiled and you took a photo, it wouldn't look like you had crowns. Because it looked like you'd have like the little thing. They fell off before the crowns did.
Oh, God.
And that was also very upsetting. You know... I think there's like a building at the Gold Coast. I remember like being at the beach at like 14, looking at the building, being like, "See that? That's my mouth right now." Because it was like a solid building, and it had just like an extra bit poking up like up top. If you flipped it upside down, that's what my mouth was. It was the tooth, and then just tucking a bit further down, slowly falling out, was like that. It was awful. I hated it. And I had to do that twice, and then the teeth were still there.
Oh, God.
So I had to have that experience twice.
Poor thing.
And then, anytime my mum's like, all right, we gotta get those teeth out. I'm like, what? No. What? Yes, I'd love them to disappear, but like this, like, you know, when people talk about like, I was like, oh, if you have like a teeth losing dream, you would, like that, that's like a oh, you're losing control or whatever, like the meaning behind that is. I would lose teeth at the beginning of the dream to then have a fun adventure. Because I was like, oh good, that's a burden that's off my shoulders.
Fair.
But yeah, so basically like all my teeth lasted forever, and unfortunately, because my teeth formed like instead of the teeth like pushing, like the new teeth pushing down and it just popping them out, they pushed and then went sideways.
Oh yeah.
So they're like, oh, we can all fit in, which made my mouth so crowded. And that's why I have like my 2 vampire teeth that stick up.
Yeah,
it's because
I just got the 1 vampire tooth that sticks up.
That's fun, but it means if I'm ever turned into a vampire, it's going to be a terrible experience because they're just going to stick out of my mouth. There's no way of hiding that, being like, oh, what's it like being a vampire? Shit. Yeah, it's pretty, like, luckily now I don't have any. But if one falls out again, get rid of all of them, give me dentures. I can't go through that again. Especially as a probably undiagnosed autism and ADHD, but also refer to Damo's statements earlier.
Yeah. We are technically self-diagnosing ourselves, but it's only because A, it's too expensive, and B, the government fucks you over if you have those.
And C, it's very peer-reviewed.
Oh yeah!
I would have never have come to that conclusion myself. People would have had to have told me because I have a fear of failure and like being incorrect and wrong. But you know, maybe that's my black and white thinking. So
Yeah, maybe.
Fuck, it's funny. But yeah, so like my last tooth I lost was in a soft sandwich.
Oh no.
I was at work and it was a crown and it fell out. I'm not going to describe what it looked like on the inside because that feels a bit too graphic.
That's fair.
But it was weird seeing the crown and being like, that just looks like just the crown. But there's no tooth left. Yuck. But that wasn't fun. And that happened at my lunch break at work.
God.
And then I had to do a recording thing for uni in like 4 days.
Oh no.
So my mouth, I was like, I can't talk correctly.
Oh god.
And now I have to do a thing for uni, which, hey, if you're interested, on my YouTube channel, you can go and click on the True Crimes and listen to my little cameo. Matt cameo was recorded 4 days after I had lost that tooth.
Man.
So yeah, luckily it came back around to fine. I could do the news presenter voice I need to do. But hey, you guys should check that out. It's one of the things I'm very proud of, and the only real thing I'm proud of at a uni. That was really nice. Anyway. So yeah, when I first lost all those teeth, I had to relearn how to eat. And that wasn't fun. I just had a lot of gummy food and liquids until I eventually built up to the rest. And my mum was so worried. My mum was like, "You're not eating anything." I'm like, "Well, it's new different." And Mum's like, "Oh no." And I was also very concerned because Mum was concerned. I'm concerned because I can't eat any of my safe foods. I just have to have like lolly, like not even lollies, but like I just remember eating, you know, like there's like shitty like string lollies.
Oh,
like just eating those, being like, this is easy to eat. I hope I can have like a kebab again. I like those, a kebab, whatever the ones that that's like a wrap, but you get it at shops.
Oh yeah,
not the ones.
I like the ones on the stick.
Yeah, I don't mean the stick ones, but I apparently swap the names around all the time.
Oh, that's another like interesting food story for me specifically, but that's a more recent one.
Doesn't matter. It sure is a shamble. I've told recent stories. Go ahead.
There was like some time ago, like late last year, I think I was hanging out with someone, and they're like, "Huh, do you feel like kebabs tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, sure. Like I haven't had kebabs in a long time, actually. That'd be great." And so, like, went through the ordering process. We were using DoorDash for it, and went through the ingredients. And I was like, "This is interesting. This is a lot of ingredients here." But yeah, okay. Maybe this place is just different. Maybe they just pack a lot of stuff in there. And like me with my brain of like only ever hearing kebab or kebab in the sense of like meat and other things on a stick that's been barbecued. Oh boy, was I surprised to find like a wrap the size of my arm.
That's a big one. All right, nice.
It was so big. I mean, like the size of my arm is like it's exaggerated.
You would have been like, God, "Oh, gee, this is priced. This is highly priced."
Yeah.
Like, $20 for this feels really not great.
Yeah. And I remember when I opened it up and I was like, "I thought you said we were getting kebabs," and they were like, "We did. These are kebabs." And I felt so guilty and so bad. And I was like, "I am not going to be able to eat this. I am so sorry." And it's just, I was so upset at myself. But then I figured that's when I found out that there's 2 different types of kebabs, and most of the time it turns out when people are talking about them, they're talking about it in the context of the ones that are wraps.
Luckily, I didn't have the opposite experience to you. but I don't know which one's the right pronunciation for which one.
I don't know either.
But I have a very similar story that I can jump off of. So one time I was very high, and this is the first time I got high, and you were there. And basically we the person was like, "We're getting Hungry Jacks." I'm like, I've never had Hungry Jacks really. I've had like occasionally, but I don't usually have it. But like, you know, like I was like, sure, why not? I'll try. Like, I'll talk about like maybe trying the cheeseburger. And I was like, give it a go. And I was like, yeah, no, let's get some chips. But the person ordering didn't hear the second bit. So when they got the things, I was like, yeah. And then they're like, here's your burger. I'm like, do I have any chips? Like, I didn't get you any chips. I'm like, but I asked for chips. But it's a thing of like, you can't blame anyone. Everyone was high.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I guess that's fair. And I had it. And I kind of liked it. And I was like, this isn't perfect, but I do kind of really enjoy this. But also like, but I'm high, so who knows? But now, I'm a big fan of Hungry Jack's burgers. Because they have Macca's burgers, I can only have the hamburger. I can't have anything else. I don't like the cheese they use. I don't like the meat patty. And with the meat I just have the meat patty and just cover it in chips and I eat it like that. But for some reason, Hungry Jack's, even though they have ingredients I actively dislike, I like them when they do it. I like with the cheese they use. I like with the thing. I get a double cheeseburger. How good is that? And the chips I don't even like as much. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. That's bonker bananas, you know?
Their stuff is like surprisingly good. I think like I only tried Hungry Jack's like somewhat recently, like within the past year, I would say. And I don't even eat the burgers there because I don't like Another controversial opinion. I don't like burgers.
That's so reasonable. Burgers are mixed.
Burgers are so mixed. Anytime I tell someone about it, like 99% of the time, they're like, how could you not like burgers? And I'm like, I don't know. They're just not good. But what I do get there is chicken nuggets and chips. And damn, those nuggets are good.
That's so fair.
They do good nuggets. I can't eat Macca's anymore. It just feels like it doesn't taste like anything, and it's greasy. So greasy.
The unfortunate thing is Macca's good times for me are now more few and far between. I mean, realistically, last time I ate it, I just felt really sick.
Same.
I was like, but like in a different way. I was just like Army and I went and gotten food. Army was having the nuggets, being like, I think they're just terrible here. I just can't eat these. And then I was eating my burgers and like, how you going? And I'm like, I don't feel well. And they're like, oh God, are you all right? I'm like, I'm fine. And they're like, that is hilariously funny how you're saying that, but I am concerned. And I'm like, that's fair. And it was terrible. It was just bad. But then but then for some reason I had one time I had slightly cold Macca's and it was somehow just kind of good. And I'm like, why? What? Oh boy.
I like consistently the last maybe between like 5, 6, 7 times I've been there to get some nuggets and chips. Every single time recently, it's just been like these chicken nuggets taste like absolutely nothing. What's going on? I'm just eating like mush right now. I'm not having a good time. This is a Macca's slander podcast now.
Yeah, it's crazy. My child me would be so upset at me. Being like, you betrayer, how dare you? Why? How could you do this? Why would you leave the creators of the Happy Meal to go for where they say the burgers are better? They're not really better, are they? It's like, and sadly you change. But the gender swap's pretty good though, actually. Anyway, there's 2 more things I explicitly want to talk about on my list around childhood experiences before I might want to jump to present stuff a little bit more, even though we've just been talking willy-nilly, which has been amazing, and I think this is a great episode. But specifically, I want to talk about 2 experiences. One, you'll have a lot to jump onto because it'll be school camps, but the other one I want to talk about is my specific religious experience. So,
which I'll have none.
Yeah, fair enough. Fun fact, I grew up religious, but not Christian, which is very funny to say.
Yeah.
Because pretty much, like, unless they're, like, you know, are very specific or come from another country, majority of people, like, they go to Christian school, they go to that nonsense, whatever. I grew up as a Baha'i, which, for most people, they're probably not going to know what religion that is, because it's the one that came after Christianity. So you see how you've probably never heard of it. But basically, you know, and... Like that one, with that one, instead of with Christianity, how you go to church on on every Sunday, with this one we'd have what would be called a feast, and it happens every 19 days, and basically you'd go over to someone's house, who's like a part of your sector, you'd go and you'd say prayers, you'd talk about what the Universal House of Justice, what they're talking about, and they're like the top 7 people that you'll all vote for. Like everyone does a big vote, and it does it compounds on like your regional, your country, the world, and you do your big vote. And basically that's like they pick. I'm gonna have to explain so much. And I'm like, all right, now I have to explain a religion no one's heard of. But then they have like their 7 people that they go and they vote for, and like you talk it like they'll write like a letter every 19 days, and you discuss about like what they're talking about, or like current events in the world and stuff like that. Then after that, you'd go and dig into food. Everyone's brought food, plates, whether it be some dinner food or some snack food. Everyone brings food. And usually it's stuff like this, and similar with family gatherings, because Mum is vegetarian and I'm basically vegetarian. You know, and you're going in there, and there's a lot of Middle Eastern dishes, and there's like a lot of meat plates, and like for of sauce. So we're just like, we'll just have our salads, thank you. And we just like make our own like food if we're gonna have dinner, and like they have it's like, as much as those experiences were never the best, they were at least kind of nice. The worst thing, because, and again, this happened at family gatherings where the big Christmas gathering or whatever, Mom and I would also have to bring our own food. But then every time there was always that one person who was like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" And you're like, "Oh, I brought it myself." "Oh, aren't you?" Like, they would never say it condescending, but they were always like, "Oh, all right, okay, fair enough." And you're like, just don't talk to me about it. I already feel so embarrassed to have to do this in the first place.
Oh my god, yeah.
You know, and they were still fine experiences most of the time. And especially with like the Baha'i ones, most people would get used to you bringing your own food, because it would happen every 19 days, you know, like that's like, and then you'd get new people rock up, and then you would have like the elders there being like, "Oh, that's not on the, like, where'd you get one of those?" You know, like most of the time, because they're like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind having like wrapping up like the meat and stuff and like the soft like shotaka kebab type thing," and it's like, "Oh yeah, well these are just mine." And then you felt selfish, because you're like, "I'm hoarding this, but it's the only food I can eat." So that's like a very specific experience. It feels so straight. I feel like I've explained a bit, but then maybe too much, but then not enough about the religion. It's a whole kettle of fish. Look it up. Read it in your own time. It's kind of interesting. Now let's talk about food at school camps.
Oh yeah.
How many camps did you go on, Damo?
So like the way my school camps functioned was that it was compulsory to go to one every year, for your specific year group, and they would progressively each year get more, I would say, challenging, I guess is what they intended. For me, it's just they just got worse every year because of that.
Yeah.
Because say for example, I think the first school camp I technically did, it must have been like it was like middle primary school, I think, probably like year 4 or something like that. It was basically just sleeping over in tents at the actual school because our school was big enough to do that and such. Like we camped out like right in front of the chapel because there was this massive fucking grass hill for whenever they liked to do their massive performances and such. This is like, I went to a private school, by the way. I've mentioned it a few times before. But
crazy. Who would have guessed?
Yeah. But yeah, in those schools, it was compulsory to go to those, despite the fact that I did not want to go every single time. The first experience was like bad enough for me to be like, nope, I'm good. I don't want to go. And then I had to keep going. And, you know, like, because I don't remember how many of them you brought your own food to, but for the vast majority of the time, they supplied the food. And it was especially so if we were traveling somewhere that was like an hour away. Like, for example, one place we went camping to twice actually was Bittabara, which I gotta be honest, I don't remember exactly where it is, but it's somewhere in the rainforest.
It's you can port it. It's on a map.
Yeah.
We didn't have to know where it is. That's not our job. Our job's to talk nonsense.
Yeah. And like I liked the Bittabara camps for the most part because they were in the rainforest. Like that's just awesome on its own. The rest of the camps were not in rainforests. They were not good. They were like mostly in like either an actual bushland or they were near a lake, which not nearly as cool as a rainforest in my opinion. But also like the camps were just handled worse each year, and the food got worse each year. And the worst part about it is because these camps always landed in winter. Because that's the most tolerable time of year to go on a camp in Queensland because summer's just way, way too hot for it. I was born in the middle of winter. So a good half of those camps, I spent my birthday.
Oh, damn.
It was so incredibly upsetting.
Oh, my God.
A few of them were fine. Just like... And I feel like that gives me extra credibility for, like, not wanting to go to those each time. Because imagine each year is, like, basically a coin flip on whether your school decides whether you're going to be away from home for your birthday for, like, 2 or 3 days or not.
That sucks. Damn.
It was so bad.
Oh.
Luckily, once I went to a public school, I didn't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. But so there's a couple of food instances that I remember very, very clearly. One's bad, the other's better. Like, the bad one was basically, I think we were camping at a lake of some kind, because it definitely wasn't a beach. It was like, it wouldn't have been a beach, but it was a place that had water, had sand. I remember being at the back of the group walking somewhere, looking behind me and seeing a massive brown snake crossing the road, and just be like, oh, that's good timing. Glad we didn't stray into that snake's path. That would have been bad. But I remember in that specific camp, we were eating in some kind of hall or dormitory. We watched not Over the Hedge. It wasn't Over the Hedge. What the fuck is that other movie with the deer and
Open Season?
Open Season. They were just playing Open Season there.
Fucking nailed it. Of course they did. Of course they played Open Season. Of course they played Open Season. That makes
That was my exposure
That really
to
makes
open season.
I think my exposure was daytime television. But yeah, no, that makes very much sense that they were playing open season at camp. Yeah.
So like, and so another one of my previous safe foods. It's not a safe food anymore because it's just too gross now. Is beef sausages, specifically beef barbecue sausages, because it's just, and it really helped that they were very, very accessible, very easy to get, especially if you were with your parents at Bunnings, because they would just make them there.
Oh, those sausages, right? Okay.
Yeah, those ones.
Again, I'm meat illiterate because I didn't have enough of it. So
that's fair.
That's good to know. That's cool.
Yeah. And like there was actually a few times at school where we would have an event like per like cross country stuff like that. The food they would always serve would always be the beef barbecue sausages, and I'd be like, "Give me."
Meanwhile, me being like, "Could I just get the bread and tomato sauce?" Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I never even got any toppings for mine. I still don't like most toppings, honestly, for sausages and stuff. But yeah, the Bunning sausages, that's all you need to know. That's one of my previous safe foods. So when I heard at this particular camp that they were going to be serving sausages for dinner, I was like, "Oh, that's great. That's a food I can eat." Because a lot of the time when I went over to these camps, I just wasn't able to eat a good majority of the food. So, like, I would either not eat, or I would just find some ingredient there that I could eat instead. So when they brought out the sausages, and I was like, like, get to eat, yay, bite into one. This isn't a beef sausage. And I found, and I asked them, like, hey, what type of sausage is this? And they told me that it was a pork sausage instead, which doesn't seem like a big deal, except for the fact that I don't like pork at all. And like, not only do I just not like how pork tastes, I was expecting beef. It's like, I'm trying to think of a way that I can describe it to you that you could understand a bit easier.
No, I understand. No. I think I'm like no, I very much relate to the similar experiences.
Okay, it's like, because you've had the bread that I have here before.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine if I gave you some bread and I was like, here's some bread. And you look at it, it's like, it looks like white bread. You bite into it, and it's like rye bread or like wholemeal or something like that, and you're like, this isn't white bread. And I just go, I never said it was white bread. Like, that was basically my experience. And I just sat down with a mildly eaten sausage in front of me, just being so incredibly distraught because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And like, I don't remember how the rest of that camp went. I literally only remember like trying to eat a pork sausage and being upset that it wasn't a beef sausage.
This might be our saddest episode.
Yeah, maybe, but like,
we talked about gender, and that was nowhere near this sad. That's so much dysphoria in it.
Food's traumatic for us, dude. Like it legitimately is.
Yeah.
We just have bad food experiences.
Bad camp experiences too.
Oh, the camp experiences were just the worst. I got leeches one time.
Oh my gosh.
But that was expected because you were in a rainforest.
But still.
You still got leeches.
Oh, bother.
But I remember there was a different camp I went to. This was at the second private school I went to. I think it was probably year 9. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was year 9. That one did land on my birthday, and I was a teenager, and I was going through gender shit and very upset about it.
Yeah, camp would suck with gender shit too.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have to deal with that part at camp.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. So that one did land on my birthday. We were just in the middle of the bush somewhere. I don't remember that much of it. I think there was like some rope climbing that I attempted to do. Gone up onto the rope because it was that rope climbing where you have to go across a river upside down on a rope.
I don't have that experience. And thank goodness I didn't, because I would have never done it.
I got onto it, and I could immediately feel my core giving in, just like going one, like, quote unquote step across the rope, and just be like, nope, I can't do this. This is impossible for me. I will fall. And but yeah, like, because I had a friend with me during that camp, and like I remember telling them like, yeah, I'm like I'm spending my birthday just at a camp I don't want to be at, and it's just like, just being upset about it. And at one point, that friend actually told like the camp supervisors that it was my birthday.
Oh,
and
no.
like, don't worry.
Okay.
To my surprise, like the next day, on my actual birthday, they wished me a happy birthday, and then for dinner, they made us hot chocolate, which was very nice.
That's
specifically
not good
for
dinner food. That's like a dessert. Oh my God, what are they feeding these kids? I can get to that time machine.
It wasn't great hot chocolate because like you're at camp, you can't have milk there, so it was just
what?
Basically, it was just hot water with chocolate flavoring. Basically,
why can't you have milk there? What's this?
I don't know. This is like before Long Life milk was like everywhere.
I had milk at camp.
Well, they I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to give us milk for hot chocolate.
That's crazy.
That's entirely possible. But the really unexpected thing is that like they're gonna send a circle, and they came out with a fucking lemon cake, and that was the best shit I ever had on a camp. That lemon cake was so good.
Hell yeah.
And I was just like, this is actually really nice. What the hell?
That's
and
so lovely.
They also gave me like a vanilla flavored, like very large cupcake as well, but I didn't like that one as much. It wasn't as good as the lemon cake. But I was just like, wow, this is just a genuinely really nice thing. They didn't have to do this. And it was just, I'm still trying to chase that high from that fucking lemon cake. It probably only tasted so good because I was in the middle of the bush having an awful time and was just happy to see.
Well, Damo, I have a suspicion that I think I know how to recreate the best cake you ever had.
Uh-oh. I do need to try baking myself a lemon cake at one point because that shit is so good. But like, those are... the rest of the camp was fine after that. Because I think the camp supervisors just felt really bad for me.
Hey, look, if I was a camp supervisor and I heard that it was a kid's birthday at camp and they were not happy, oh my God.
Oh, dude, if I was a camp supervisor in that type of situation, I would probably cry.
I'd be like, hey... you get a special treat. Any activity you don't want to do, just don't do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You get a nice day.
Yeah.
We could just chaperone you around and do whatever you want. You want to do rock climbing again? Well, I could take you to do rock climbing again.
I would be in the person in the back of like one of the staff tents just furiously baking a cake. With like the best of what they have in terms of ingredients.
I almost want again. That's the idea of us being two camp counselors who are trying just our best is also very fun. Fuck! I have so many fan art ideas for this fucking show.
Oh my god, those are my camp experiences, and I mean, like, that's like what the majority of my experiences of food as a kid is. It's just like either like not have either there's no food that I like at a certain place. That happened a lot when I was going to relatives or like family friends and stuff like that. There would just be no food for me to eat, so I would just sit there for hours just waiting for the events to be over.
No, I have very similar experiences.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, great, I could either try and make myself a sandwich, but they only have whole meals, so that means the Vegemite's not going to taste good with it. Fuck.
And then there's like nobody your age, like, around there as well. That was my experience.
I had depends on whose family. Like, if I was with my cousins in Melbourne, then I would have people my age. A little bit, not a lot. I would have my oldest cousin, who was like 2 years older than me, and then one cousin who was slightly younger than me by like a year, and then like 4 or 5, and as it went down. But like, it was the thing of like, so my camp experiences. So there was 3 camps we had available. Where there was a year 5 camp, then there was the year 7 camp, and then there was the year 8 camp. The year 7 camp I didn't go to because that one was in Canberra and we didn't have the money.
Fair.
And again, public school, so they're like, look, if you don't have the money, like, that's fair enough. It's Canberra.
Good God, that wasn't my experience.
The other 2 were like implied mandatory, but more in the social aspect rather than the financial. Like, you didn't have to go, but everyone was going, you know, and you wanted to be there because if you were going there, you get to spend time with your friends in a cabin, not school, and that kind of sound, again, camp as an idea, unless you were afraid to leave your parents, kind of sounds alright. But anyway, so, again, obviously, I'm not a meat eater. I just don't really like it, which is both kind of nice and kind of shit. But basically, you know, so you tick the vegetarian box. So when they're like, do you have any dietary needs? It's like, yes, I'm a vegetarian. And we went to a camp. It was a beach camp. Our movie that we watched there was Wreck-It Ralph because it had just come out. But I didn't want to watch it because I had already seen it and it was very emotional. It was very intense. And I was like, I don't want to go through that in front of my peers. So I was...
that was my childhood experience with Hercules.
Oh, that's so fair.
I had already seen it and we were watching it in class, but I didn't want to watch it again because of like the underworld segment where he's going in to save Meg. And it's just like, I'm scared of death. I don't want to watch this.
Where... Can we have that in a t-shirt? I'm scared of death. I don't want to watch this. Can we please make that? We have to be making merch. Please, Damo.
I hope you're keeping track, because I'm not.
It's on the... We have a list.
We do. I don't keep track of that.
I've had to keep track of the content warnings for this episode.
That's fair.
I've had to make a list of that because I'm like, there's a lot of really intense subjects that are very ready for people to have like, oh, my trauma. But yeah, so camp. So you know, like, so when they were watching the movie, I was filling out their awful like productivity book that the activity book that we had to fill out the whole time.
Okay.
But here's the thing: it's a beach camp. I don't like the beach. You know, there was fun stuff there. Weirdly, one of my best moments was actually at the beach because I was working really well with the team. And to my surprise, I won an award at a little like certificate at the end, being like, "Hey, for like persistence." And I'm like, which is very funny in retrospect. Or like resilience or something is what I won the award for because our thing kept not working. And I'm like, "No, we can get it to work." But the food experience there was the vegetarian options were veggie patties. So everyone got hamburgers. You got the hamburger that was fake meat. that was just a bunch of vegetables that were steamed and cooked.
Oh boy.
So I had a very bad time. I ate the bread. And
Yeah.
also, this specific camp made a very strong effort to be like, please eat all your food. Do not waste your food. Which gave me a complex that I still have to this day.
Oh, like the food guilt.
Yeah, I had a bit of food guilt before. This is where I really got the food guilt. Was that like, don't waste your food. Like, don't waste your food. Don't be doing that. You have to eat it all. So I felt such shame putting what I didn't like in the bin because I could not eat it. So what I did eat that whole camp, apart from the few scraps I could eat from the food that they did give me for breakfast was fine. They had Wheat Bix. I could eat Wheat Bix. They had milk. I had Wheat Bix and milk. But any other meal, it was oranges and apples. To this day, I still don't quite like apples.
That's fair.
Oranges I'm still fine with, but apples I hated for a while, and now I'm just like, they're not the best, but I can eat them if need be.
I'm kind of the other way around. I don't like oranges at all.
That's fair enough. They're very citrusy.
They
get everywhere.
Don't like citrus.
They
do get everywhere.
The worst part about
and every single time at lunch when someone would open up a fucking orange, it would just smell of nothing but oranges for the next half hour.
Okay, I wouldn't have that issue. I'd have other smell issues like chocolate, but or coffee.
That's fair.
But
you just don't like chocolate.
Well, it's cocoa specific. I really dislike, which I get from my dad, who's allergic to it because he had too much of it as a child.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so that's a fun thing to be allergic to in this day and age.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't like all apples, but I fucking love Granny Smith apples. I love the really sour tart ones. Whenever I go out to get some, I always try to the trick that I've learned to get the most tart Granny Smith apples is to get the deep green ones with the really bright white spots on them. Those ones are the best. Don't steal my idea. I need those apples. They're mine.
I don't know a difference between an apple and an apple. My favorite apple story is the one time I convinced my younger brother when he was very little that apples when they rot they turn they don't rot but they turn into pears. Because at Woolies or whatever, they had a bunch of apples and some of them were turning a bit green and they were right next to the pears, and I'm like, oh look, you can see the process. And he would have been 5, 6 at the time, being like, whoa. I'm like, oh, I know, right? How crazy is that? And then afterwards I told him and he was like, oh. But yeah,
that's so funny.
But that makes sense because especially with child brain, a pear is just a soft apple.
Yeah.
So you're like, that makes sense. That the harder thing would soften out, and then because it's softened out, it's changed its shape.
It looks like apple. It tastes like apple. Why wouldn't it be apple?
Yeah. But yeah. So I basically just had apples and oranges the whole time, and the best meal was breakfast. And it was apples and oranges the whole time. The cabin was full of sand. The beach was full of sand. Because it's kids going around a beach. Oh my god.
That's true.
The best thing about it was when we got free time and I was the only kid who went to the library. Best friend of the show, Kyron, did join me. He was a little upset because he wanted to do one of the other things, but he was very happy and he was very much willing to join me in the library because he was a little curious too. He's a book nerd. But I sat and I read my little Garfield books, and I was able to borrow books from the library.
Hell yeah.
And I just borrowed Garfield comic strips as my little comfort thing. But yeah, so that was at camp. Then I didn't go on camp for the Canberra trip because we couldn't afford it. Luckily, by the time my brother got around to it, he was able to go to the Canberra trip, and he had fun. I'm glad I didn't because I had a bad experience at camp anyway. But funny enough, because you'd still go to school and there was me and 6 other kids who didn't go. And
I wish
that
I
was
had that
that
experience.
was the first time I went to high school because we went for a Japanese competition or some nonsense that were like while someone else is happening, yeah, and I won a cool hat, which then like 2 years later was torn up by one of my cousins after I said don't use this hat, and I was like, oh great.
Oh no.
So I lost my championship hat from the Japanese competition, which is a class I dropped because I couldn't take it anymore. It was too stressful.
That's fair.
But so I had that experience. That was kind of fun, and that was the first time I got to experience something like, you know, I got to experience the classic Australian show Around the Twist, but without having the horrible childhood experience of running out of the room and anytime we played it in school being like, excuse me miss, I must go to the leave, I need to leave, I can't be here. Thank goodness I wasn't embarrassed about that. I was just like, I can't, no, bad.
Yeah.
You had a fear of death, I had a fear of the existential horror.
I also had a fear of the existential horror, but that only showed up whenever we were shown like space documentaries and such.
Yeah,
Never,
that's fair.
I'm never ever going to forget the day in primary school where like we were being shown like a space doco specifically on the solar system, and just the one shot of like a close up on the sunspots, and the narrator going, "These sunspots are large enough to swallow the Earth," and child me just be like, "I gotta go, I gotta leave, I can't take this. This is way too much for me. I gotta go."
I had a very similar but different experience of child me being like, space is so cool and fun. Then we learned what a black hole was, and I'm like, never mind, never going.
Oh god, yeah.
Never going to space. Fuck it. That's too much. That's too unknown. That's like, well, you'll become spaghetti and disappear. What? Excuse me, miss? Huh?
That's such a funny way of explaining it, though.
It is. That's what it was. You become spaghetti and disappear. But luckily that didn't dissuade my interest in space as a science. Unfortunately, in high school, we never learnt about it because you only learnt about space if you were good at maths.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, so... Oh well. But anyway, my second camp... A bit better in the food department, not perfect. I think it was a better camp than the first one. Because one, it wasn't at a beach. It was off just in the middle of the forest. Off in the bush, where you're just like, oh yeah. And that is where I met one of my friends, who then became my long-running friend all throughout high school. But he doesn't remember that we met there. He remembers us meeting in year 9 when we formally met, but I'm like, no, I remember you from camp because I was sorted out into it, because in this camp you're sorted out into groups, and I had no friends in my group. And then this kid and I were like, he was like, we're becoming friends, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I need someone, and this is nice. And you know how you had like your rope swing across like water or whatever? Ours was you had to climb a very tall tree, and then you had a harness and everything, and then jump off and grab a rope.
Oh god.
I got to the end of the ladder, and then I looked down, and you know, in like a Daffy Duck cartoon or whatever, like the zoom of like height, and I got that, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Never mind. I was the only one I didn't do it. I was the only one who got. Like everyone else, like a lot of people were very afraid, but a lot of people did it. I didn't.
That happened to me a lot as well. I would usually be the only kid to back out of an activity at camp.
And like, luckily, I wasn't like shamed or anything for it. I didn't feel the best, but like, I was also like, but I couldn't even shame myself that much. I was like, are you kidding? I saw that. I know what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Which is funny because then I really enjoyed the rock climbing, which is like an artificial wall they had up, and I just did that, and I was like, I didn't get to the top, but I had more fun, and I was able to get like 3/4 of the way. I was like, this is good. Food-wise...
I kinda had fun with rock climbing. I remember trying to enjoy it because it looked really fun, but I think I just didn't like how competitive everyone was being about it.
Maybe we should do a rock climbing thing.
You know what? Maybe we should do.
Because at best would be competitive about it in the way that we're competitive about things, which is fine.
Oh yeah.
So like either I'll get hyper competitive about it and you're gonna be like, I don't care, or you're gonna be weirdly competitive about it and I'll be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you know, it'll be fine.
I like being competitive in like mostly like a joking way, or just be like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking get you. I'm gonna like not being serious about it at all.
And yeah, mine's similar,
like-
but more with more manic and like danger in my eyes.
Yeah. The reason I didn't enjoy competitiveness when I was at school was because the competitive kids were always the sports kids. And I think I've already described my relationship with the sports kids on this podcast before.
I mean, maybe. We haven't talked about primary school because I wanted to save that episode for another day.
That's true. Long story short, the kids at my primary school were so competitive to the point they were like actively like injuring each other and anyone who gets in the way, because they really liked footy.
Holy shit, they treat it like a fucking death sport.
Basically, that's what it felt like to me.
Eat dirt. Ugh. What? They're treating rugby like pod racing. Oh, that's amazing. That's hilarious. In retrospect, more at the time. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. One day I will make myself gain a neutral relationship with rugby. I'll just like throw a ball around myself and be like, oh yay, I'm not being like hit in the back at the moment. This is great.
I had a better experience with AFL because I was a lonely child, and then the only kids who were like, hey, do you want to do anything was the AFL kids. So I have a very soft spot for AFL.
That's so sweet.
And also the rules made more sense to me than rugby.
It's fair. I never know the difference between all of them, I'll admit.
That's fair enough. You don't have to.
I don't have to.
That
I
goes
have no
for-
burden.
That goes for you too, the audience. You're the one
Yeah.
who's not gotten into an AFL podcast. That's me, silly. That's not you. I hope it's
Yeah.
not you. Oh, goodness. Oh, jeez Louise. No, you can't have... That one? Yeah, that one? Broden Kelly's one? That's not the one I'm listening to. Okay, you're fine. You're fine. You're no, the one I'm listening to. Oh, that's How Good's Footy. You're listening to that as well. Oh, no. Yeah, so... Yeah, no, I'm not into the fantasy football, so no thanks. I'm all good. The cards? No, not at all. No, I'm not into the cards. No. We should talk about something else. Anyway, yes, my
Totally
second
not
camp.
into the cards.
My second camp was. They had a really fun drink. It was basically like a tropical fruit drink. You know, like how like you have apple juice, orange juice, but like tropical. And I had I think it was like tropical like punch or something. It was the best. Issue being, it ran straight to my bladder.
Oh boy.
So my worst experiences at camp was being like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom now. And they're like, great, go back to your cabin because we don't have any other bathrooms. And I wouldn't be the one who had the key.
Oh no.
And I was just like, I hope there's a bush around that no one's looking at. But yeah, like, I just don't really remember much of the food there. I think it was like a mix between like, it was definitely better than the first camp I went to, but it wasn't great. Like, but at least that camp kind of had any fun. Like, there was fun to be had. I didn't really like my cabin though. There was one funny moment where one of my friends slept on the couch because they didn't want to sleep on the bed, and they fell off the couch and then got in trouble. Like, it's a funny thing in retrospect, but more just being like, teacher, I get it, but who cares? We were like right next to the teacher's cabin.
Oh.
But like we weren't
that kind of
rowdy
reminds me
kids.
of like. That kind of reminds me of like a small dorm I had in camp at one point. We were like, this one had bunk beds in them, and I think it was like 2 bunk beds, a cabin or something like that.
Yeah,
And,
all our camps had that. 2 bunk beds a cabin.
Yeah. Some of mine had that. Not all of them had bunk beds though, because some of them had tents. But like the others were like, I remember just going in, not really having any strong opinions on bunk beds because I never had one as a kid, and just being like, yeah, it's like, if anyone wants the top one, like, I'll sleep on the bottom. It won't be any issue. And, like, the other kids were like, yay, I want the top bunk. And I was like, go ahead, go take. And, like, went to sleep that night, woke up in the morning, sat up as I usually do. Dude?
Set up as the usual, dude. Hey man, how's it going? All right, let's have a miserable time at camp. I have to dude around or I'm gonna cry. Gender, baby.
It's a coping mechanism, baby.
That was your first experience with playing with gender. Wow, amazing. Oh my god, that one might become a TikTok.
Yes, please do. I remember, like, just sitting up, spinning around to, like, get up out of the bed and just slamming my head on the bed frame above me.
Oh!
And just immediately being like, I don't like bunk beds. This sucks.
That's so fair.
It was just like, I can understand for multiple reasons now why people generally prefer the top bunk.
Which is funny because the one time I slept at the top bunk, there was like barely any room, so if I knocked my head, it would be on the ceiling. so and you would have had a better chance under. Well, I think the person who slept underneath was really tall, so they also had a similar issue, but still.
Oh no.
But yeah, camp was not great. But okay, here's the last thing I will say about camp, because I don't really have much more food stories about camp. We had at the year 8 camp, there was 3 separate distinctions of cabins. There was like your A cabin, your B cabin, your C cabin, right? So your A cabin, that was just for the girls. It was the best cabins, it was the fanciest ones, whatever. Then you had B and C. B cabins were for some of the boys and the girls who weren't able to go to the girl cabins.
Oh no.
Which I think in our camp there wasn't really any there, so it was just the boys there. And then the C cabins was really for the boys. That was the main one. B cabins were for the boys who were left over. Luckily, I was, and in quotation marks, one of the boys. So I was luckily enough in the leftover cabin, so we got a kind of nice experience. The hell that would reap in the sea cabins. It was one of the things where I think we were looking at, like, all us like 13-year-olds looking over and being like, wow, this is like, you know, ranging in, like, you know, of like how much money we had, whatever, but like, oh, so this is what the middle class feels like. Because you see all the, like, gorgeous, lovely cabins and hell.
I had kind of a similar experience, I think, but like because of like I was because I was in quotation marks one of the girls.
Oh god.
I never bunked with the boys, but like sometimes there would be like mixed gender cabins, but like every single fucking like time I slept at some place and they had like cabins and places separated by gender, you could always just hear the boys just wreaking so much havoc in their cabins.
Yeah, like you'd hear just awful stories of like the chaos, and poor Kyron was in the chaos one.
Oh no.
And honest, if I would bet a 50-50 chance if I asked Kyron, what do you remember from year 8 camp? He would be like, not much, I blocked it out. Because he didn't like camp either, but not less for the food stuff, more because he doesn't like physical activity. He was a video game boy. He was like, and he was stuck in terrible cabins because like our cabins were like a building. Their cabins felt like wood.
Oh god.
Like and you'd hear about like and it's like the stories you'd hear about, you'd have no idea if they're real, but like one of the kids like running around with underwear on their head, another one you're like, oh we're not allowed to go into there, we have one roommate is in there and we're not going in there while he's alone. You know, like just all that jazz. Or you're just like, I need fresh air, I'm just gonna walk, bye. I'm just going somewhere else. You know, and then you have like those boys trying to get into the girls' cabins, and you have that's all like the chaos. Like if like a bonfire started there, I would not have been surprised. Like genuinely, if we'd looked at from like, Ah, the sea cabins are on fire. Oh yeah, that's not good. Anyway, back to bed.
I think the worst with the cabins that I had to deal with was like it was actually like the people I was in the cabin with was really chill. I remember the cabin being built very strangely. It was like there was 3 bunk beds, but there was only enough room for the bunk beds, the door, and just a small space for everyone to get into their bunk bed.
Oh God, of course.
It was basically like it was like being in a silo essentially. And the cabin that we were in, our door just didn't close properly.
Great.
And like these were just screen doors for
Oh,
some reason.
yeah, no, of course.
And like so every now and then like we would be trying to get to sleep or we would be chatting with each other and we would just hear like the wind like whistling and then you'd hear like the soft little thunks of the screen door and just be like, oh, we've got the shit cabin.
Yeah, that's what the sea cabins were. They also had like it was less cramped, but my God. I guess this episode's going to be called Food in brackets plus school camp.
Yeah, we've been talking so much about school camp.
Because it's such traumatic experiences.
It is.
Anyway, I guess we should try and wrap things up around food. So,
like get to the next topic.
Yeah, food at the present day. Do you have any notes on that one?
I do, because I had an interesting little gateway into trying more food. Specifically, like trying like Japanese food, which I've found to just. I found out that I specifically love like Japanese and Chinese food specifically. Just so good.
Hell yeah.
The taste notes that they have are just they're so pleasing to me, and the texture of like the recipes is always so good. My gateway food into that was like during high school we went to like the shops up the street that everyone would just like skip school to go to.
Yeah.
And we went to the Japanese place there, and like one of the people I was with got some miso soup, and they were like, do you want to try some of this? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? And I had a try of it, and it was so fucking good. It was just like it's a very light kind of taste, and it had fried tofu in it too. That tofu was so good. And so from there I was immediately like, oh my God, I need to try more Japanese food. This is so fucking good.
Hell yeah.
And like surprisingly enough, I'm not super into sushi. I like some sushi. I like chicken sushi and salmon sushi and tuna sushi, but that's kind of the only ones I really have most of the time. The texture is usually pretty good, especially like with salmon sushi, because it's just nice and consistent and such. But like it was basically from there that I was able to extend my palate a bit further. So like now, like most of the time, one of my more recently acquired comfort foods from like the past few years is this egg noodle soup that I found a random recipe off of the internet, and I've just been making that for like the past 2 or 3 years, and it's fucking good.
Hell yeah.
And and I've also just been like learning how to make more like Asian recipes and snacks and stuff, and also just trying to make myself like try more different types of foods, but this time just within like my own limits that I actually know of, because I know the types of taste notes that I like and dislike at the moment.
Imagine being able to know that. That's crazy.
For the most part, I do. I'm usually able to tell from smell alone whether I'm gonna like something or not.
I wish. I've had so many good foods that smell delicious, but I hate the taste.
Oh God.
Like chicken smells so nice, but I don't
It's a
like
shame
it.
you don't like it.
And it sucks. Like, sorry to cut through, but like my number one upset with food is that I don't like lasagna.
It's such
lasagna looks so nice and smells delicious, but I don't like the meat and the pasta.
That's so fair. That's so fair. Oh my God, that's another thing that I don't like in general that like a lot of people get shocked by is like I don't like the majority of like pastas apart from like noodles essentially. People will get really surprised by that.
Yeah, I haven't tried noodles properly, but I really hate the texture of pasta.
It's the texture.
It's
just like I feel like I'm just biting into rubber here.
Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's like it's either rubber or hard plastic.
Yeah.
And you're like, why have I done this? And the reason I don't like the cheese slices is also because it feels like I'm biting into rubber, like the ones in the plastic sleeve. But yeah, no, like, and it's a thing of like, you know, and you would have heard this a bunch. Oh, well, you know, you only don't like it because of the way it's been cooked for you. Maybe my parents or like my relative or I make a better version that you will probably like. I can guarantee that my dad's lasagna is great because at the family gatherings, it's one of the first things to go. And everyone's like, oh, that lasagna is really good. Even when Dad made it gluten-free for my grandmother, no one noticed. People are like, that's even better, maybe. Some people thought it better, some people were like, it's not a thing. But like, they're like, oh, it's gluten-free, so more people can have it. You know, and that's...
Hell yeah.
And that's really good. And my brother's been able to pick up and learn that skill and learn how to do cooking stuff, which is great. But
yeah,
it's such a sucky thing because my favorite Garfield the cat loves the lasagna and it looks so delicious, and then I want it, but no, it's got all the bad things my body doesn't like, but it looks nice and it smells nice.
It's so tragic.
And then occasionally I'll hear someone be like, oh, well, I can make a cheese equivalent of the thing you dislike because I love cheese. But the issue is it never happens. And look, and like I will say a thing, because one of the people who talk about that is my old roommate Corey. He always said he knows how to make a cheese lasagna. It just never happened because of a lot of circumstances and money and time and so on and so forth. So I don't want to criticize him the thing of like, how dare he didn't make that fucking thing for me. But you know, like it's
how dare he?
But like, you know, it's very much like a it's circumstances, and like I just. Man, I want to branch out. I need to branch out because I'm so tied into my small amounts of foods that I eat. And I would really love to, but every time a branch comes out, I'm just like, you know, all the guilt from camp comes back into play. All the weird experiences and just being like, I just don't think I can. But, again, with like, you know, help and stuff, and one of the things I was going to bring up, I'm getting better. Not only have I tried an omelette from... Is this an omelette I had you made me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you made me an omelette, Army made an omelette and then gave me some, and I tried both, and now, you know, I'm like, okay, I don't like egg. I know that for a fact. The reason I don't like the omelette thing is the egg taste.
Yeah.
Well, Army's had a bunch of cheese on it, that made it taste better, but it still had an egg taste. So, you know, like
mine had cheese in it too. It was like I think it's just pizza cheese that I use, which is basically it's an amalgamation of 3 different cheeses.
But I think it's a thing of, for me, I think Army's cheese just had more cheese on it, maybe, or like
that's fair.
I just only got the egg from yours, and I was like, oh man.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, my omelets have a very like I would say like a thin layer of cheese over it because I don't like it tasting too cheesy.
That's reasonable, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I've found that like a pretty good way of going about it and like helping each other is like make a thing that you like, offer it to the person, see if they like it. If they don't like it, no biggie, just eat it yourself. No food wasted, no guilt.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really good and it's very healing.
It is. It's like, what do you know? It actually. What do you fucking know? It helps to have people in your life who aren't going to criticize you for,
or just be like, righto,
for your food taste.
Or just like randomly be like, righto, you're trying rice today. And I'm like, okay, I don't like it. Well, you should try it again. What?
Yeah.
I don't understand. You barely eat rice, Mom. Still eat it, fair enough, but you know. But it's just like... Yeah, and I think another benefit is I've also been learning how to make more food because and this is the thing that happens when you and your partner move in together is that, you know, sometimes one of you just doesn't have the energy and you got to make food. And I've also learned I love making food for people.
So do I.
It is such... we fight over it.
Yeah.
But, like, it's a thing of, just a thing of being, like, I get to make something for a person that they will enjoy.
Yes.
And that's so nice. And, like, sometimes you get home and you're like, the worst thing is getting home from a food shop and knowing you're going to have to immediately make food.
Yeah.
That's never fun. But aside from, but even then... It's still nice, and from that, I've learned how to make ramen. I've learned how to put the thing in, put the thing in, and squish up the thing that needs to be squished up, put it in the thing, and then, and then because obviously, and I'm sure Army won't mind me mentioning this. Army is also a picky eater, which is one of the things that we got along with very well. And they don't like the big herbs that are in the flavoring for the ramen. So you have to get, what's the thingo called with all the little holes in it? The thing in the kitchen.
The strainer.
Yeah, I get that's the thing. Like a strainer. I got a strainer. You pour the thing in, you shake it over, and you put it and that way you get all the green herb flecks out of it, and you get the thing. Although
to be fair, anytime in instant ramen or instant noodles, anytime they have vegetables in there, that's the freeze dried stuff, it's always shit. That stuff is never good.
Yeah, that's so fair. Similar, and then to jump on that boat, anything that is a meat substitute that's just a bunch of vegetables jammed in there, terrible. I didn't like the meat in the first place, but you've made a worse product.
Yeah.
At least I understand why you ate the meat. I don't know what happened here. Why is it the same color but then also covered in corn and peas?
Oh god.
That was my camp one, specifically.
Oh no.
I was like, why is it the meat color but a bit wrong and then also covered in flecks of peas and corn? Yeah, but whatchamacallit, what was I saying? But yeah, no. The other night, and this happened very recently, I think it was literally last night or whatever, as I was doing the noodles, I put the flavoring in the what do you call it again?
So what are you trying to
strainer? The strainer thingy.
In the strainer, yeah.
The strainer. I was about to call it a skillet. I put the strainer thingy, I put it all in there, then I flipped it upside down. I've never done that before. It just happened. And I've, the back half of that was in slow motion as I'm like, oh no.
That's so tragic, but so
And then
funny.
I just had to sit there for 20 minutes. Pick. And then I was like, hey, Army, do you have any tweezers? I found tweezers, I washed them, I cleaned them, was using them to get all the stuff out, and I was telling Army, and Army was like, this is hilarious. This is so funny. And I was like, sorry your food's late, I did the thing. And I was like, it's fine. This is this is so funny, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
oh, I'm an idiot. Next time I had to do it, I did it properly. I didn't do it, but it was so, I had to reboil the water.
Oh no.
Because I was just like, I took so long, and I took so long that Mum came into the kitchen to fill up a hot water bottle and leave. And I was like, oh, bother. Oh, great. But again, living with someone, you learn how to make food and prepare it in the way that they like it. And that's really cool. That's really fun.
Yes.
Unfortunately, on my end of food keeps being taken away from me. For example, I like dip. I like tzatziki dip. That's like one of the ones I like. But my favorite dip was avocado dip. I do not like avocado, but I like the avocado dip. Specifically, the Coles Home brand. Now, if you're a Coles Home brand avocado fan, you might have noticed, especially if you're a long-time fan, you might have noticed recently, it's been pretty shit. What has happened is because before, other avocado dips tasted too avocado-y for my tasting, but the Coles Home brand one was both the cheapest and also a great combination of the flavors that I was like, this isn't overbearing in a way that I hate. But then, for lack of a better term, it feels really watered down.
Oh god.
They got rid of the little it already feels like you take an avocado dip and you've watered it down, and that's what you've got. And it was good. And then it feels like they watered it down again, and you're like, what is this? And so I've lost my number one dip. And I've gone out and I've spent $4 or $5 on avocado dip to try the fancy ones, but they're fancy. I don't like anything that is the fancy equivalent of the cheap thing, because it's too rich sometimes. For example, ice cream. We haven't even talked about ice cream. That's a food. My favorite flavor of ice cream is vanilla. Because strawberry flavoring I don't quite like in ice cream, and we'll get back to it, because I don't like flavoring. I just like very specific things, but I'll get back to it. But I like vanilla ice cream, not vanilla bean. Vanilla bean's terrible. I don't like it. It tastes too much like earth.
Vanilla bean is a very different taste, to be fair.
But some ice cream places, that's their vanilla option, is vanilla bean.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I'm like, this is terrible. You've taken away my vanilla. And then I go to one of the places that I enjoy ice cream from is a Baskin & Robbins. I think it's because it just has a lot of flavors. But specifically, one of my favorite ones, which is strawberry cheesecake, which I did not expect to be any good, but is weirdly great.
That does sound really nice.
And recently, and this is a fun tip, if you're going to Byron Bay, they have a gelato place, and one of the things they had there was a strawberry cheesecake ice cream, and fuck, it was delicious. Again, it was just great, and it was cheap. Well, it was cheap, but it was ice cream, affordable. And that was good. I liked that. I also enjoyed banana as a flavor, but that goes back to my paddle pop days.
Oh, paddle pops.
Before they became too pricey, we never got them ever again. And now we just go to whatever Aldi has for cheap. Well, that's what I do. My parents occasionally get a Magnum. I occasionally get an off-brand. Oh, Aldi has been my number 2 example of taking away foods I like, because they took away. They had the Magnum of white chocolate ice cream. It was vanilla ice cream wrapped in white chocolate. They had those as well as the regular chocolate ones and the regular chocolate but it's crunchy or whatever. They had all those ones, but the white chocolate one was the only one that was limited time.
Oh,
so I had a great summer, and then never got it again because I've never stocked it since. Luckily, I have fallen in love with the caramel ice cream equivalent that I think Cadbury or one of the main chocolate companies do. When those are on special, I would occasionally buy them, and I honestly kind of prefer them over the Magnums because they have a little bit of extra. But those are also quite nice. But so that was one thing Audi took away from me. Another one was what I would dub as pizza pies. Now, you know how a pizza is a pizza and it's not a pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. These ones are about as thick as a pie.
Oh, God.
And was just so much sauce and a bit of cheese on top. And what I would do is I'd buy these, like frozen aisle stuff. I'd buy them, I'd cover them in more cheese, and then eat them.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always burn the roof of my mouth every time. And the one time I didn't, the pizza didn't taste good because it was too cold. But
Oh no.
they were delicious, and I felt a bit like I was branching out a little bit because for my homemade pizzas I just use tomato sauce. But this is like proper pizza sauce, and I was like, you know what, this is different. It's you know, I'm branching out a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's something, and it was taken away from me.
Oh.
And it happens all the fucking time. And it's so annoying. Because again, and then obviously with the price of food going up, it's scary. And, you know, you can only get certain foods and you can only get some things. You're like, well, I don't know. Like, it's just, you know, it's upsetting. Also, to rope back to a thing, because I've been giving Coles too much credit. For those who are...
don't worry, we have a lot of shit to say about Coles.
One, why are the stores so bright? Two, why is it so loud?
Yeah.
But I will give it this, and this will tie into a bigger story I just remembered about food that I forgot to express earlier. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to you, Damo, for talking for so long, and I'm so sorry for the
2
audience.
hours.
2 hours, baby, woo.
Let's go.
So, as a kid, so I'm a big fan of donuts. I love a good donut. One of my favorites is a cinnamon donut. You can get them at Donut King. They're great. Or if you want to go Krispy Kreme. I used to like how their strawberry ones were, but they've gotten rid of that. That's gone. They do a different strawberry one. So that sucks. That's another thing that's been taken away from me. And I liked their glazed ones, but again, they became too pricey, so I don't buy them anymore. It's like, it's like $4 for a glazed donut. I'm like, this is not worth $4. I remember when these were $2, you know. So like they're not worth it. But like, so you have like your Woolies donuts and you have your Coles donuts. As a kid, the Coles donuts were fine, but I never really loved them. The Woolies ones tasted way better for some reason. Unfortunately, now the Woolies ones are kind of like too cinnamony. Like they're just like coated in them. Like you shake it, and there's still too much. You will see more cinnamon than donut, and you're like, I like a bit. This is a bit overkill, but you know they still make the better dough nut. You know, whereas Coles ones not really great. The only ones I kind of like are like the glaze, like the ones where they have the icing on top. But because I don't like chocolate. I don't want to get the 6-pack because that's stupid. Where it's like the yellow flavor, which I think's lemon, strawberry, and chocolate. So I never buy them. But occasionally they'll make a mistake, and they'll just make just strawberry packet. Or recently the just the lemon one, and it was great. I loved it. Although I think the just lemon one was maybe for the Olympic stuff because I see green and gold. But you know, like delicious, yum, loved it. But as a kid, because my lunchbox at school was a sandwich, some biscuits, and a donut. It would shuffle around a little bit more. Sometimes I wouldn't have enough good bread for a sandwich, so I'd just suffer. Sometimes we wouldn't have any good snacks, so I'd just have a second sandwich. You know, really much depended. But God, making sandwiches for school sucked. Because you couldn't have half the sandwiches you liked because they would feel shit by the end of it because you're like, oh, great, a soggy sandwich.
Yeah.
So, like, a Vegemite sandwich was good sometimes. I grew up with, what was it called? It was like cashew paste. It was like a
cashew paste?
I don't think it was cashew specific. It was like a nut paste. It was just a
Is it Nutella?
No. It's not chocolate. It's like the healthy thing of it's like a bunch of it was like almonds, cashews, like just a bunch crunched together to make a paste, and it looks awful and tastes it was fine. I had it as a kid because I was like, it tastes weird, and that's not the worst.
Yeah.
And Mum's like, you should go back to it. I'm like, God no. I can live now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have options.
I can choose to have a nice time. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's very much. So, but with the donuts, you know, you get the Coles donuts because you didn't get to pick where you're going. You get the Coles ones that was the closest shop. and I worked out a way to eat them that made them taste good to me.
Oh.
So, my great-grandmother on my dad's side, who we called Nana, she would, like, back when she was able-bodied enough to be able to cook and make food and stuff, she would make these, like, delicious, would I call it a pastry if it's got no paste? It is just dough, but, like, formed in a shape. Because you'd have, like, scones and other stuff. I don't like scones. Scones are terrible. But
I don't have any opinions on scones.
Fair enough. But I guess because I didn't like scones because they were the other option if Nana didn't make this food, and I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
But they were just called buns. So now we just have a recipe called Nana's buns. But they were so, like, full. Like, you know when you bite into a food and you're like, oh, my mouth is full immediately because it's just got so much stuff there? And it was just baked dough, like, in a very specific way that obviously the recipe requires. I don't know the specific recipe. I'm going to get Dad to teach me. It was one of my favorite foods ever. It was so filling and it was just the best fucking food ever. And I learnt that if I chewed off the skin of the Coles donut and then ate just the insides, I got a close enough sensation. So then people at lunch, this is high school, like, people at lunch were like, oh, okay, you got a donut, oh, you must be fancy. And as I just eat the skin, and then they're like, where is this going? And I'm like, that's good, nom nom nom. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, it's delicious. And they're like, okay, sure.
Oh, fuck, that's funny.
I haven't tried that in a while because I haven't gotten any good Coles donuts because they need to be fresh. Because, again, similar with the bread, I don't know if they're going to last. Oh, also, I enjoy the Coles, like jam ones, like this, like the jam donuts they have in the little packet. And my favorite part about them is that I eat them really quickly. It's not good. It makes me feel a little bit sick afterwards.
No.
When I was younger, I didn't get the sick feeling, but you know how it is. But I get the fun experience of, like, school, going up to location that everyone went to. But, do it during, like, the exam block. And I went up there. I had a great story with Corey. We went up there. He got something. I grabbed the donuts. I came back down. We're eating. He saw me eat 2 donuts and then put it in the bin. And he's like, hey, aren't you going to eat the rest of them? I'm like, no, I did. And he's like, what? I'm like, no, I ate all 6. He's like, no, you could have eaten all 6. And I'm like, no, I did. Look. And I put, like, because the packet was, like, top of the bin. I was like, look. He's like, that's impossible. I'm like, I've done it. Similar experience when I had a traineeship and I was like, I got, like, a Krispy Kreme because it was cheap back then. And I was like, I hopped in the elevator and I'm like, well, now time to have some fun. And then by the time the elevator, it was not that high. It wasn't a tall building. It's not like we had a lot of time. It was like we went from the 1st floor to the 4th floor of, like, a relatively new elevator. So I just ate a whole Krispy Kreme donut. By the time the door opened, I was like, nom 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 nom. Delicious.
Scary fact about Cara is that she can eat food like scarily quickly.
Well, I didn't get a lot of good food, I guess.
I guess not, but, like, when you compare the speed at which both of us eat, for example, pizza.
And you'll get a little pizza, too. You'll get, like, the mini.
Yeah, I get the mini pizzas, and you're still, like, I could be like, I could have, like, I finished 1 slice, and you're halfway through your whole fucking pizza.
Maybe, like, 1.5 slices, damn it. Come on, give me some. I'm not, like, it depends on the day and how good the pizza is and how empty my stomach is. Because, like, some days I'm like, oh no. Oh,
yeah.
Another fun fact about food. Well, we'll get to it in our favorite foods, because that will come up. But yeah, do you have anything else to say specifically or just in general about food before we get into our final segment?
I've got beef with Coles.
Fair enough.
Beef with Coles because they, a while ago, just stopped selling like my favorite like quote unquote instant ramen packets. It's specifically Blue Dragon Ramen. I'm pretty sure it is a British brand of blue ramen packets, because that is the only currency I can find it in online. But like, it was the ramen flavoring of like the soup and everything. Oh my god, it was so fucking good. And I was just like, I've been trying to like figure out what the fuck they use in their like ingredients, because I'm trying to recreate that taste in my own ramens at home. And I just haven't been able to figure it out, because it's a very rich kind of flavor, especially for instant ramen. And they just like, I remember like I noticed that like the restocks on that particular ramen just like they weren't happening as frequently, and then like I noticed that just they weren't being restocked at all, and the pile of them at the very tip top of the shelf was getting lower and lower, and I was like, uh-oh. I need to grab the rest of these.
You've reminded me of a food that I have lost.
Oh no.
And it wasn't just Coles who took it away. I think it's gone for good. Because I used to see it at like petrol stations and like other stores, but gone. I think the company went bust. They were sesame seed bars.
Oh.
And they were like $1 because they were always on sale. And then I realized why they were always on sale. But like, they weren't perfect. They were weird tasting, but I liked them. My food will either fall into, I really like this, or this is weird tasting and I don't hate it. You know?
I remember my dad has also had a similar experience to me, because like a thing I've inherited from him is that we are both chocolate fiends. Like we will just consume like just so many bars of chocolate. And there was like for a long time there was this small brand, I don't remember the name of the chocolate brand. It's like since gone defunct, obviously, since I'm telling it in this particular tangent. But like it was one that my dad would always get, and he liked it so much that he bought it by the box, like by the display box.
Oh,
he would just
wow.
take an entire box just so that he would have like basically a month's supply.
I wish I had that kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a thing. That has actually been a thing that my family has always kind of prioritized in terms of money. It's always been food in some way, especially for my dad, because like he particularly tries to. I know I did just describe him as getting entire boxes of chocolate, but he does eat fairly healthy. And and apparently a recent thing that I found out was, even when my parents like had just moved into a house and were basically broke, like most of the money was being spent on food, and like not just like shitty food, but like food that was actually like keeping them alive and like well, essentially. Like that's. I mean, like, yeah, no, that's kind of like why my household in particular is just like we've either always got food, or we try to not get like we try to get like at least somewhat better food than home brand and stuff like that, because it's just kind of always what we've prioritized in terms of money.
That's so fair.
Yeah, but yeah, no, like he would just grab entire boxes, and the company actually like went out of business like within the last year, I believe, so fairly recently. And I remember him talking about it. He wasn't like too upset about it, because I remember him actually saying one time, saying something along the lines of, "I think I'm the only one buying this brand of chocolate." Because like.
He never gave anyone else a chance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you would just see, like, an entire, like, a meter's long worth of Cadbury chocolates, and then like Lint is I don't remember how to pronounce the name, but I like that brand of chocolate. You'd have that brand, and then like the extra Cadbury stuff, and then this one other brand that only my dad is buying.
Like, you've also reminded me of another lost brand of my favorite lollies.
Oh yeah?
You know, like the Starburst brand of lollies? Not specifically the Starburst lolly, but the Starburst brand. They made the best jelly babies I've ever had. They were so fun. And, like, they also had, like, a few other ones that I enjoyed most lolly brands, except for, like, Allen's. I had them too much because they were the cheap ones. Like, our family had a lot of circumstances in which we're like, look, we just need to get the cheap ones because that's all we can really afford.
I used to like Allen's stuff, but it's like, it's way too sugary for me now.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Like, I enjoyed it a bit more, but I've sullied on it.
Yeah.
But also, I am a sucker for my sour lollies anyway.
Oh, same. I fucking love sour lollies.
But, yeah, no, just very specifically, like, I just remember going, like to the point where they went out of stock in, like, Coles and a Woolies, and they were only in stock in movie theaters, and we would just cop the price.
Oh.
Like, because Dad also really liked them. And then, yeah, they're just gone. And I'm like, at least with your chocolate, you can maybe grab the recipe. I don't know how to make lollies. Like,
that's a whole other process.
But man, it sucks that we have so much food tragedy in our lives.
I know.
Like, that's also we've.
Damn it! You've got me craving Haribo's now.
I don't like Haribo's. I never.
I only like
them.
the red Haribo's.
That's so reasonable. That's so fair.
That's what's so annoying about it. It's just like, I want a bag of Haribo's, but I can only get the mixed colors. I don't think they do entirely red like Allen's does.
You don't have the luckiness like the Sour Patch Kids who are like, only watermelon, and you're like, why did you buy this flavor, Corey? And he's like, well, I don't know, I wanted to give it a go. And I'm like, all right, and we just sit and eat a whole watermelon. We're like, that was nice, but why did we do this? Also, speaking of them, my favorite ones of them were the underwater collection they had, which were limited time.
Underwater?
With the Sour Patch Kids, they have like themes. With sometimes they're like, oh, this one's space themed, so the lollies look like spaceships or like aliens or whatever. And they had an underwater themed, and I don't know, they just tasted really good. They were just my preferred one. And then they stopped making them, and I was like, well. Although at least that one I still have the hope that I will find somewhere. Because I don't quite know how that company works, but I imagine they're gone for good. But, man, this whole episode is like, man, it sucks being neurodivergent and having very specific tastes.
I know, right? This episode should be food, in brackets, school camps, in brackets, being neurodivergent sucks.
Okay. That's the title. I can put it in. We can make this title whatever we want. We could name this John Q. Citizen Goes to the Movies, and it's us talking about food. Like, it matters enough in the way of like marketing and so on. But yeah, we can name it food in brackets school camp and brackets being neurodivergent sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love that.
I don't know if you have any other just general food stories, but this is our longest episode so far to date, and usually our longest episodes are usually with a guest.
Yeah.
So
we just have a lot to say.
The guest for this episode was Trauma.
Yeah.
Featuring Trauma. Oh no! Holy shit! Oh, this is the longest titled episode too. Oh god, I hope Acast allows me to name this episode this long. I might have to go into the subtitle. But I was just gonna go to like just pick a few favorite foods You know?
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, we'll wrap it up with a few favorite foods. This episode could be it won't be 2.5 hours long. I've got enough to cut out of this. It shouldn't be that long.
Yeah.
But now that I've said it, it could be. Oh, God. Anyway, my favorite
food.
My favorite number one food is a good old cheese pizza. Does it matter from
Hell
where?
yeah.
Not particularly. This is one of the nice examples in which just getting a margarita pizza at a fancy place, I can like. I usually do.
Yeah.
But I love a good cheese pizza. I love it from Domino's. I love it from Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut I do have a preference to. But that's because Domino's is weirdly spicy. So I don't know what that's about, but their food's a bit spicy. And as a person who's eaten Domino's for a long period of time, you do get numb to the spice. But if you stop and you have a sensitive palate like me, who doesn't really eat any spicy food, probably should give some a try. But I don't have a... Anyway.
Yeah, only if you want to.
Yeah, it would be interesting, but also I would die.
Yeah. I don't even have much spicy food, like, myself. Like, I have a more Asian-oriented food palate, but even then, I don't know, I like the more mild stuff anyway.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, like, pizza I love. Specifically, I love a good stuffed crust. Oh, so nice. Now, fun fact about stuffed crust and how I handle it. So, I eat it weirdly. I eat the pizza first and save the crust for last. Now, you might be wondering, what the fuck? Great, it's the donut all over again. But actually, so here's the trip about this one. When I was a kid, we rarely ever got... Like, we had, like, the one little treat we had is every Thursday night we'd have takeaway night. And we'd either got to pick Macca's or Pizza Hut. I would always pick Pizza Hut. My brother would be like, yeah, Pizza Hut. And so it'd be like, I just want Macca's. And I'm like, why'd we get Macca's when we could get Pizza Hut? And basically, like, you know, it's like... because you rarely get it when you get stuffed crust, it'd be like a birthday or something. But I would only ever be able to finish half the pizza. Because I wasn't able to eat the whole thing, because the cheese is mixing is the same thing as if you're eating food and drinking a soda. You're going to fill up way quicker. So what I did instead was I would eat the pizza and then eat the crust, which only ever backfired on me once, in which I went to the bathroom and came back and my grandfather ate all the crust. And, like, not his fault. I wouldn't eat crust usually on a pizza. Like, that's understandable. I was devastated. And
oh, no.
I didn't even get, like, you know... And, like, it's a thing of, like, I couldn't be mad at him. And I told Mum about it, and Mum was like, well, I'm sorry, but tough. We don't have the money to do it again. You know? So, like... Or, like, just a thing of, like, yeah, like, no, at the time it would have not... It would have 100% been, we didn't have the money to do that again. So apart from that one very traumatizing experience, stuffed crust has been great. It's been delicious. I've been able to eat a whole pizza. Although recently, I will get to like the last crust and I'll be like, I can't eat it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, you know? It's okay to not finish your foods. That's what I've been working on to try and, you know, get better. Damon, what's one of your favorite foods?
I have so many favorite foods.
I'm only listing 3.
Okay.
Because I'm like, well, we're 2 hours and too far into this.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, we'll like swap it back and forth,
Yeah.
and then I can just go on a mini tangent.
yeah, that works. Like the hobbies episode, but reverse.
Yeah. Well, like since you mentioned pizza, like one of my favorite foods is also pizza. But I am basic and I like pepperoni pizza.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah.
I always wanted
like,
pepperoni because it was the pizza the Ninja Turtles had. But I didn't like it.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Like I am a little bit more picky with pepperoni pizza because like different places have like different types of pepperoni. Some places have pepperoni that is so spicy, so hot. Oh god, I have to like drink water in between each slice. Other places, Domino's, Pizza Hut, their pepperoni is basically nothing.
That's so reasonable.
So, like, Yeah, so usually I end up either opting to make my own pizzas, which like works out very well considering I love making food so much. So like being able to make my own pizza is just so fun. Or I go to like a more local place that's a bit more expensive, but like if I feel like splurging, then I'm like, well, it's your stuff's good, I'm getting it. And it's like, and I am the opposite in terms of crust. I like the thin and crusty crust the most. Although like sometimes I change it up for like the regular like everyday crust. But like I don't know. Like that's I like my pepperoni pizza quite a lot. It's very difficult making thin slices of pepperoni for some reason for me. Also, the first time I made pepperoni pizza myself, I forgot to take the paper wrapping off.
Oh no, we've all been there. We've all eaten plastic on like I've had similar with like again making your little pizza bases or something, and like you just have like a piece of cardboard or plastic wrapped to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Yeah.
or one that I swear I took like there was like one of like this is more shade on Coles. They're like pizza you could like. I'm pretty sure it was Coles. Aldi might also be getting some shade too with this one. Like those like frozen pizzas, you'd cook them up and you'd look at them being like, it looks like the plastic's still on, and I know I took the plastic off.
Yeah.
And you eat it, and you're like, this is the worst pizza I've ever had.
Yeah. Oh my god! Like one of the frozen pizzas I used to get, which like is really nice, is like ristorante pizzas. Those ones have thin crust on them, and they're so nice. But then like I'm never able to finish them, which I get really annoyed at. But like, and it's not from any guilt. No, it's because like I love how it tastes so much, and then I get annoyed that I don't have a big enough stomach to eat it all.
Yeah.
That's why I usually opt for mini pizzas if I can.
I mean, my pizza thing's grown over years. Like this stomach eating a whole pizza isn't a. That's not like a thing I've always been able to do. This has been build up. This started from one slice.
Training.
This started from 1 to 2 slices of no cheese, just base. And now we're here. You know, this has taken time, energy, effort, sweat and tears, probably not that much blood. You know, I've gotten to here and to the point where I'm like, maybe it's okay that I don't finish. You know? Yeah, this is how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, what's another favorite food of yours?
Donuts.
Hell yeah.
I've talked enough about it.
That's fair.
It's the thing of like I talked about it already. I like cinnamon donuts, from Donut King. They're very warm. They're nice. I liked the ice donuts from Coles if they do it right. I like the regular cinnamon donuts from Woolies if they have just any good amount of cinnamon, because they either do too much or too little, and you're like, why? I like the donuts from I like at a bakery, just like a regular bakery, jam donut. Good. That's good shit. But then yeah, Krispy Kreme glazed. I used to like the strawberry. The jam donut there is fine. It's a bit too sugary. But I can't go there anymore because it's too expensive. So yeah, that's my donut place. Demo.
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you once before that like I thought I didn't like donuts, and it just turns out I don't like Krispy Kreme's donuts specifically.
That's so reasonable.
Yeah, because when I was in Victoria recently, we went to a place that sold donuts, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll get like a chocolate covered donut there. I'm hungry. I've just had a coffee. I don't want to get the coffee jitters. And that donut was so fucking good. It's just like, oh, I really like this. Oh, it's just because I've just been having Krispy Kremes for like the last few years, I guess. I just don't like those ones in particular.
Fun again, another thing I just remembered because of that. I don't like fancy donuts. If you're too fancy about it, you lose all the fun flavor of the artificial.
That's such a fun thing about like being a picky eater sometimes.
You're just like, I'm sorry,
not
but
liking the fancy food.
Like the fancy food of it sucks. Again, like I think the best donuts that you can buy if you want a good cinnamon one is Donut King because you watch them make it.
That's true.
They make it fresh and it's hot, and you're like, fuck, ow, hot. Yes, something delicious. I don't have time for any more stories. Go, Demo. What's your next one?
One of my all-time favorite, like, I'm gonna count it as a food. It's smoothies, and like I have a little mini story to go with it. When I was doing a casual job at a picture framing place, during lunch breaks there was this cafe that was just like a very short walk nearby, and they made smoothies there. And one day I was just like, yeah, sure, fuck it, this sounds nice. I want to try the mixed berry smoothie that they make. And I tried the mixed berry smoothie. It was so good. I loved that smoothie so fucking much. I haven't been able to visit that cafe like in a good while because it's it's not in the middle of the city, but it's in one of the really busy towns in there where there's like barely any parking or like good luck finding transportation, I guess. But since then, I basically like tried looking up some recipes for different smoothies, and then I remembered I have a tiny little book on how to make different mocktails specifically, because that was a thing I got into for a very short amount of time until I couldn't because I didn't have money for ingredients.
The age-old problem.
Yeah, and that one had a recipe in there for a strawberry banana smoothie. So I basically just used that recipe, mixed in some blueberries and blackberries, and bam, I've got a mixed berry smoothie, and it is my favorite thing to make because it's so easy. The only annoying thing about it is that it uses Greek yogurt, and I love Greek yogurt, but it's fucking expensive to get.
Is that the one that you make all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is really good. I do like that one. But that's because it reminds me of the smoothies that Mum used to make. That were very similar to that. I think they had less Greek yogurt. No, they did have Greek yogurt. They were, I don't know, yours has an extra kick to it that Mum's didn't, or had a different kick to it.
I mean, like, I think one of the reasons I don't get a lot of smoothies from places other than, like, Boost, I guess, is because a lot of places that do smoothies, especially mixed berries ones, they always put a sweetener of some kind in it, and it's usually honey. And, like, I like honey, but they always put way too much honey in it, and I can only taste the honey. And it's like, I want to taste the blueberries. Yeah. I don't want to be drinking honey. This is too sweet.
Yeah.
But that's one of mine. Like my in-house smoothie recipe. My
last food before we go to the Demo's lightning round is a cheesecake. Oh, I love a good cheesecake. I have a lot of fun memories of going with either grandparents on either side of the family. Just going with them, we'd go for a walk, and we'd be like, let's go to the bakery and get a cheesecake. Oh, so good. And now I'm a little bit more picky with my cheesecakes. We had to go a little bit cheaper as time went on because we couldn't really afford any of the good ones. There still is like one good like frozen one that's like not too bad. It's a thing of like, this is good-ish, but you know, like it's not amazing. But then you get like, I'm gonna describe a really fun cheesecake and the worst cheesecake I've ever had in my life. So the really fun cheesecake is like occasionally like your bakery cheesecakes, which taste really good, but then, oh no, I've eaten almost half of this and now it's getting too much but it's too delicious, so I'm going to finish it and maybe feel a bit sick.
That's conundrum.
Although sometimes I won't, because I'm like, I can't eat anymore, but I'll just eat as much as I can of it. And I rarely ever get them because it gives me the weird feeling, but, you know, it's very... Occasionally I'll get a craving, and I'm like, oh no. But also they're rarely sold anymore. Like the bakery cheesecake, the closest one I found is like there's like one at a muffin break. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's like 40-minute drive. What used to be a 16-minute drive, now it's like a 45-minute drive. So it's like to get to the same shop. So it's like, well, I'm not going to go here often. And every time I go there, I'm like, I don't have the money for cheesecake. And also, if I eat it, I can't eat any other food. It's not like filling in the way of like, oh, a good sandwich, but I'm like, I'm full in the same amount. So it's like, it's a risk, but I love it. So that was the best cheesecake. Well, best-ish. Like, it's in the top echelons. The worst cheesecake I ever had, we're throwing shade on Coles again. Coles had this little slice of a cheesecake. It's like 2 slices of cheesecake. And it was like this little rectangle. And I was like, I haven't had cheesecake in a while. This is a little cheap. Maybe give it a go. So I brought it home, and I took a bite. It was nothing.
Oh, God.
And not in the way of like, oh, this doesn't taste like anything. It tasted like nothing.
Oh,
it
no.
tasted like the concept of the shape, the rectangle. And I was like, because it was in a rectangular shape, so obviously it's going to have that like thing to it, but I was like, what is this? And I finished the whole slice, and I felt in my stomach that something had gone in, but it wasn't food, and I felt full. And I was like, what the fuck is this cheesecake? Luckily, there was a second slice. And then, other old roommate Wet, we were talking about it, and I was like, I want you to try this. And they were like, fuck it. And it's such a rare experience for 2 people to have the same... I'm going to rant for a little bit, which is 100% going to make this episode go over time.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood cooking shows as a child, and still a little bit now, because the base premise is someone judges you on their own personal tastes, and you win money or not. I'm like, if that's the case, I should be a judge on MasterChef.
Yeah.
To keep the topics all the same, I'm the gimmick of the season. I'm the gimmick. I'm like, hello, I'm picky and don't like a lot of foods. I will 100% try whatever they make. And, you know, like, if they're like, oh, we had to make, like, this egg meal with all this extra stuff, and I'm like, I'll give it a go. Sorry, I don't like egg. And, you know, I'll try and be fair, and obviously be like, well, the presentation was really nice. Obviously, I saw how you were cooking and stuff like that. But, you know, I think I would be an amazing gimmick for a MasterChef episode, for, like, a season.
Yes.
You know, I think I'd be incredible. And also, please hire me. I am willing to work. Jobs would be nice.
Yes.
But like, when Wet ate the cheesecake, they had the exact same experience as me. And it was so nice. The most delicious thing about that meal is a connection with another being.
Oh my god.
It was... Mwah. That was the best part, because we were like, this cheesecake is nothing, and yet... Like, I don't want to have it again, unless on camera. I don't want to have it again. Because I just... It's terrible. And it's still there. You could buy it now. If you want to try the cheesecake, it's in like the little frozen section under like the little like plastic lid. Like where you get like the regular like the ice cream, like not the ice cream cake, like the rainbow cake that is way too yuck. Or like some of the other cakes and stuff. It's like in that section. Please, if you are dangerous and upset enough, try it, and if you try it, let me know. Put a comment down, write a review, give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 5 stars. But yeah, that's my last note on cheesecake. Those are my 3 favorite foods. I know one of them is a snack and the other one's dessert, but you So Damo, we are going to go into the lightning round. Ring, as it is 12:38 a.m.
Oh yeah, I gotta make this quick. So, ramen. I've already gone on a tangent about ramen and stuff in general. Love ramen. There's a lot of places I go to get ramen as well. I also love Japanese dumplings, gyoza. Especially I specifically love this one place that does dumplings with egg and chives, I believe it is. Egg chives and prawns as well. However, I haven't gone back to that place in a while because I think I may have gotten some food poisoning there. But their food tasted really good.
The food that poisoned me was quite delicious.
It was.
That's where they trick you, Damo. So you're gonna have middling food. We're like, it's okay, I guess, and you'll be fine for life.
I also love good old reliable chicken nuggets. I'm not usually super picky about where they come from, but obviously some brands are better than others. I like the tempura styled ones. I used to prefer the crumbed ones more, but now I've had them too much and I'm bored. So I gotta change it up. I also really like egg drop soup. That's a thing I've learned how to make fairly recently. It's basically just you get some chicken broth, you boil it, and then you bring it down to a simmer, and then you get some beaten egg, and then you very lightly pour it in while the broth is simmering, and then the egg just instantly boils into just this magical little a flowy, wispy, flowers almost. A lot of recipes describe them as flowers, which I think is actually pretty cute and accurate. I also really like this thing that my mom actually learned how to bake for me, is a Japanese no-bake cheesecake, which specifically came around because I was just craving cheesecake so bad. However, I gained lactose intolerance at the age of 14, 15 or something, and it's only gotten worse as I've gotten older. Aww. And I just cannot eat frozen cheesecakes anymore. So, have to make our own. And I was curious about Japanese cheesecake specifically. So, my mom has, I think it's been a while, so I think she's forgotten a little bit how to do it. But, she, I think for one of my birthdays, she made a Japanese cheesecake. And it was so good. So good. It's just, it took us a few tries to get the taste right, but once you get it right, it's just the right balance of a lemon and lime type of flavoring, and it's so soft and so smooth and it's so good. I gotta make that again because it's so good. And on the topic of cheesecakes, I also love red velvet cakes, which is a thing I also love to bake. I love cooking, but I love baking too, because baking is actually a lot more fun for me, because oftentimes when you're baking, you're usually baking for other people as well. So if there's some sort of party or a get-together or something, I try to use it as an opportunity to bake something, usually cakes. One of the Halloween parties we had recently?
Yeah, it's the most recent Halloween party. This feels weird because it was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, those cakes were quite nice. I kept eating them.
Most recent. Yeah, most recent Halloween party I've...
well, it's technically not the most recent. It was the one before, because we had 2 Halloween parties in the 1 year.
Oh, that's true.
That's why it feels funky. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that particular one, I made 3 batches of cupcakes. One was red velvet, the other was chocolate, and I think the other was vanilla, if I remember correctly.
Yes, because I had those ones. Those are the ones I ate.
Yeah. And that icing came out so good. The frosting was just, it's I was very happy with them. and people liked them a lot, so I was very happy about that. But red velvet has always been my favorite flavor ever. One thing I've found that I really like recently as well is fruit and grain slices, which is a thing that the cafe local to me was baking and selling for a little bit of time. They stopped selling them at some point while I was in Victoria. So, but they seem easy enough to bake, thankfully, and like they're just really nice. Because like they've got a lot of nuts, they've got like seeds and stuff like that, but it's like just they've got the right amount of like fruity sweetness in them as well, and I just need to learn how to make them myself, because they were a really nice snack, especially to have with a coffee. It's like I would mention coffee as a favorite food here, but that is just an actual drink.
That feels quite dangerous. Anyway, I do need to lightning round us a little bit. We have hit, oh my god.
Don't worry, I've got one left, and it's gummies. Specifically trolley.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're pretty good, but they're so dangerous for me because I end up eating way too many of them, and it makes my blood sugar levels just spike.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I'm like, I just want to keep eating more gummies.
I like that we both have different issues with that one. It makes your blood pressure spike. It hurts my teeth. Because I know how some people have like a sweet tooth. I don't. Yeah. My sweet tooth hurts. If I have something too sweet, it actually hurts. Like it stings. So yeah.
Yeah. That's my lightning round over.
Well, fuck.
The sleepiness has started to kick in for me.
Oh, well, that's just at the perfect time. On this lovely note of Damo getting tired and my stress, on that note...
Finally getting tired at 12:45 a.m.
On that note, I've been Cara.
I've been David.
I've been up since 7 a.m. I have not had a chance to sleep because every time I tried to lay down to do that, a thing kept happening today.
Go to sleep.
But yeah, on that, yes, I've been Cara.
We've already done this, but I've been David.
Well, that's okay. I edited the end. We only did it once. Yeah, gotcha good.
How dare.
See you in the courtroom, Damo. You can tell I'm tired because this shit's happening.
You're riffing now.
I'm riffing now. Now's not a good time to riff. Now's a good time for everyone to go to sleep and say good night, good slumber.
I was going to draw.
I hope you have a lovely sleeps. You know.
Like sketchbook pages.
I hope you have like tired